Hello, I am Daniel Bloodworth. We are Easy Allies, and this is the Easy Allies podcast. We got a full deck this week. We got Michael Huber.
Sauron. The way Galadriel says Sauron, it's like impossible to replicate.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Rings of Power, I like it.
Michael Damiani.
I was going to talk more about pumpkin stuff, but nah, it's too hot there for you guys. So I don't want to get. I want to wait till the mood is right. We'll wait a few more weeks.
October.
Too soon.
No pumpkins in September.
My September's for me. I always write a line at September, and it's like, but anything in August is too soon, man. But September 1st or the first Saturday, that was like September 2nd, I think, or 1st. Went to Starbucks, got my pumpkin spice right away. I was like, September 1st, let's go.
Hell yeah.
Making it all happen in the control room, it's Isla Hink.
Huber, I watched a movie called Starvaker. Matt Smith and Morford Clark. The girl who plays Galadriel. Yeah. Pretty good.
Sick.
Don's elbow is back there.
Don's elbow.
And Gabby as well.
Hello.
We got a lot of crazy stuff to talk about this week. We finally, the long rumored PlayStation 5 Pro was announced. We woke up early to check that out.
$699 US.
We're gonna talk about a lot of that. There are some crazy happenings at Annapurna Interactive. We're gonna get into that story a little bit. We played some games. I played some I Am Your Beast.
Nice.
I played some Yars Rising, and Don's played a bit more than me on that as well, so we'll get Don talking about that. Damiani played Mika and the Witch's Mountain, as well as the Castlevania Dominus collection, and Isla's played Hollowbody.
Sick.
Which is a cool little horror game there. So we're going to get into it. First of all, the big one. The very big one. The very big price. The PlayStation 5 Pro.
Pricey.
$699 US, 699 British pounds, 799 euros,
So
1,119,980 yen.
And just remember, the PlayStation 5 launched at 50,000 yen. It's like more than double.
They raised the price actually on the.
Yeah, they raised the price, and now it's like, good luck with that.
The stand and the disc drive are also sold separately. So if you
that really makes it pretty.
And you need that stand's worth $4 to $5 trade-in value at GameStop. So maybe hold on to it. Might be worth it not to get that extra $4 or $5.
So it's $810 if you haven't bought all that stuff to be equivalent to the base PS5 disc version.
But if you own a PS5, you're probably trading it in. You're trading in your PS5 to upgrade to the new one.
Depends.
There
are definitely
GameStop,
like with the Switch,
I mean,
and with
if
the
you're-
Xbox,
if you're-
people are buying seconds.
That must be nice. I mean, that's
let's see.
crazy.
I know GameStop changed the trade-in value, but undid it the day of the announcement. They kept it what it was, but I don't know if they nuked it because they did temporarily nuke it.
Oh yeah, they see dollar signs.
It went down by like 40%.
Yeah.
But let's see. Store
that's-
credit. No, it's still pretty good.
Okay.
So right now, Sony PlayStation 5, if you're just a regular member, walk in, and you need a controller, all the plugs. So like you need the controller USB cable, the system, the stand, the HDMI cable, the power cable.
The little key thing that goes into the stand.
Yep. And if you have all that and it's in good condition, you get $325 store credit. But you have to turn it in now.
It was $350 the other day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, but you got to turn it in.
That's crazy.
So you won't have your system anymore, and you have to get the system at GameStop. So I don't think it's gonna be that hard to. I don't think it's gonna be that hard to get. So,
but I think the difficulty with the thing with the trade-in that's always weird to me is like it's difficult to do that little swap because you've got to transfer your stuff.
It doesn't take that long. I did it with the PS4 Pro. You just dedicate a day to it. It's not a big deal.
But I mean, doing it is not hard. But but when you're trading it in and you're only getting store credit, aren't you gonna want to trade it in after you've gotten the
then you
Pro?
Well, you
You
pre-order.
want to transfer it first and then trade it in. But if you're
Don't you just
transferring
do it over
I see what you're
PlayStation Cloud?
saying.
If you
I
have
see what you're saying.
PlayStation subscription, one of the things you could just re-download everything,
Yeah, it's
including
just
your
over the
saves.
internet.
Or put it on a external or whatever. I think the biggest.
Yeah, external might help. Yeah.
I think there's so many avenues to talk about this whole situation. I think one of the things I keep thinking about is how nice it would be and how different the conversation would be if you could send Sony your PS5 and they upgrade it to the Pro for $200, because that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a $200 difference, and
But you have used the machine at least. It is got dust on the inside somewhere.
But growing up, I bought an expansion pack for my N64, and it made it better.
Yeah.
There's precedent here that goes back decades.
Is PS Direct, do they offer trade-in? They weren't around for PlayStation 4 Pro, were they?
There's no trade-in thing, no.
They don't do trade-ins for that at PS Direct? I didn't know if they might offer that.
Yeah, the main thing that hopefully the PlayStation Direct helps is to mitigate scalping.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
really
such a
don't think it's gonna be
clusterfuck
an
now
issue.
because you have to worry about third-party people. You have to there's just so many variables and things now. Like you have to give GameStop your money now, which I don't want to do. Like if you could just go straight to Sony and be like, dude, I just want to upgrade, but like that's not an option. So it makes this whole situation
yeah. Well, I'm
super
sure you
annoying.
could find a mom and pop or something.
Yeah.
Sell the PS5 too afterwards. But November 7th is when it comes out. There is a 2 terabyte SSD in it, which is good. That's a little bit more than double.
One nice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Digital Foundry comparing it to a 4070, and they said the cheapest 4070 right now is going for like 500 something, just the 4070 itself. So people saying like, oh, just buy a PC. Like it's not that simple.
No, it never is, because there's also
really not.
Windows eats up so much garbage. So
Yeah.
But also, like, people are saying that they know it's not just literally going to cost only $700 to make a comparable PC. They know what PC is going to bring them. It's more than just gaming. So, like your cell phone, for a lot of people, PC is like, a step more important than a gaming console. So if you already have like a PlayStation 5, like me, I don't really see a need to get this.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to save that $700 and put it towards a new computer next year, especially with Sony putting all most of their first party stuff on PC anyway at some point.
And Donnie,
so,
I was really go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. And what this is making me doing, you were like alluding to maybe there might be I don't think this would be hard to find at all because of that price. It's going to be in
It's
this is
selling
going to be
out
like
100%.
It's not, absolutely not.
What do you want to bet?
Sell out?
here we
Friendly
go.
wager? I'm down. This is selling out 100%.
Like how fast sell out? Like you can't get it with day one.
Immediately.
I think you'll be define immediately. I think you'll be able to buy it
within the
on
first
like
week.
Amazon
This
or
is sold
whatever.
out.
Oh, within the first
First
week?
day, dude. First 2 days. This is sold out.
Because I was gonna say like it's gonna last like at least the first day. Because usually these things go like within 15 minutes, an hour. Like
the internet's
PlayStation
crazy.
5 is gone.
People are ready to resell
But, like,
these things.
I think I don't think it's gonna be that hard, and I think there's a chance it won't take that long to sell out. I think the thing that's gonna be a problem is the disk drive. The disk drive because
already sold out.
It's already sold out. That's why I got it. Because Hubert, this is what I am doing. I'm gonna trade in my base model PS5 for a slim PS5.
Nice. That's a
because
move.
because I want because I want like the newer, better model for like the base that's gonna last me a little longer. And then I'll have the disk drive for it. So that's why I bought the disk drive, and that will cost me like whatever the trade-in is, whatever the slim is. It's like I feel like that's a better investment for me. Because I do think like the base PS5 overheats a little bit too much, especially mine.
Initially, I was like semi-confused about like the level of outrage, but then I'm like, okay, well, everything has outrage. Every game gets announced, everyone's pissed. Something gets announced, there's all constant outrage. But then I, slept on it, and I was thinking like, it's super annoying that it is so expensive because like, if you want this. And like many of us, like full disclosure, I'm fucking broke. If you want this and cannot afford this, you feel left out. You then feel like, yo, I'm a Sony person. I got PS5 like day one. Like I'm here. And now moving forward, you're gonna have quote unquote an inferior version of that console.
It's interesting because that's when I was looking at the gamesindustry.biz analysis, and they had a bunch of different analysts talking about it. And they were saying there's there's a lot of people that are raising noise online, but kind of like with Apple or whatever, this is for that that diehard PlayStation market. They're gonna buy whatever the new PlayStation is, no matter what.
That's mostly like me. This is the most important thing in my entire life. That sounds maybe sad to some or hyperbolic to some, but truly my number one passion and reason to live in my life other than my family are video games. So for me, yes, I am in. I don't want to be in. This sucks. It's not like some pleasure to be oh, I get to buy a PS5 Pro now. Awesome. It's fuck, I have to get this because this is my obsession. This is my passion. You definitely don't need the PS5 Pro. I think it's honestly, if it's a bad purchase, the PS5 plays all your games. You're getting a little better graphics, which a lot of us can't even tell the difference between anymore, and a little better frame rates. But it's everything in my life. It is my entire
Damian's got something.
Life.
What's up?
I just had a question for Huber. I know it's not happening, but are you a little disappointed there's no DualSense refresh with this as well? Because you love the slam on it, so I'm kind of curious if you felt this could have been an opportunity to introduce a refined DualSense. That's not happening.
It's insane, and they have the audacity, Damiani, to raise the price on those another $5.
Yeah,
everyone. I was just talking to Grumbomb, who also takes excellent care of his stuff. He's crazy. He's all about getting autographs and wearing gloves and shit. He's on his 4th DualSense, dude. It's unacceptable. Controller's trash.
It's gotta be those games that make you.
It's gotta be Fortnite. Fortnite's the cause, I guess.
You do a lot clicks.
Yeah. L3 to run, R3 to slide.
Yeah. I think that's it, man.
It's gotta be
because I don't play a ton of games that do that, and I'm still on my same DualSenses that I had.
Yeah.
I bought 2 at launch so I could play multiplayer, and then I got a purple one or whatever later.
Yeah.
So
lucky man.
But my blue Xbox, it doesn't have drift, but it's got weird sticky thing with the shoulder button because in racing games you hold that shoulder button down a lot, and then
sticky.
And then because what had happened is that there is a little bit of plastic where a little rubber stopper hits.
Yeah.
And I pushed it in so much that plastic has cut a wedge into that stopper.
That's very funny.
So it's not I
can see you just racing in some close race. You're ah!
Yeah.
Huber. So I was talking to some people last night about this. And I have to reiterate because they all think the same thing that I think as well.
Yeah.
There's no way GTA 6 is going to run at 60 frames even on the Pro.
Maybe 40. So Star Wars Outlaws has 40, a graphics mode with 40, and it was 40. Actually fucking nice. I hope
they could target at least 40
and if it's locked, remember Digital Foundry is obsessed with if they're if 30 is locked or another frame rate is just kind of all over the place, dude, locked. If it's locked at 40, that is reasonable. But reasonable expectation.
This actually lets me lead into, because we haven't got the details yet.
Yeah.
So the PS5 Pro is still on the same CPU.
Yeah.
So something like GTA, where it's doing a lot of calculations for number of characters and AI and stuff, that may still not get above 30. Yeah.
They also said though that other parts of the Pro take less CPU than the PS5 base, so really it's 10% kind of, but since other things take less, you're getting more as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here's the big 3. As Sony put it, from the PlayStation blog: upgraded GPU, 67% more compute units than the current PS5, 28% faster memory, which enables overall 45% faster rendering during gameplay. Advanced ray tracing, so they basically have new ray tracing techniques that allow them for more dynamic reflection and reflection of light. Allows the rays to be cast at double and sometimes triple the speed of the current PS5. And then the big question mark is AI-driven upscaling. PSSR.
Bloodborne.
PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. An AI-driven upscaling that uses machine learning-based technology to provide a super sharp image clarity by adding an extra amount of detail. So that's basically, it's sort of like NVIDIA's DLSS on PC and other even DLSS, it took a while for them to get it really right, and it still was like a game-by-game basis. Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing, like, is PSSR going to look good or or not? Is it going to create weird artifacts and stuff like that? Gotta see it in
person, yeah, for sure.
And the other thing about that is it's like that is very specifically for 4K. It's like taking something below 4K and upscaling it to 4K, because I learned with DLSS, it's like, oh, I'm playing on a 1080p monitor. Like, no, it's just always going to be worse because you're sampling from 720p. Yeah. So that's one of those things where, like, obviously the people that are going to buy a PS5 Pro, like 99.8% of them already have a 4K TV. Yeah. But if for some reason, like, you hook it up to a 1080 at a friend's house or something like that, then, like, yeah, PSSR probably won't do you any good.
Got it.
What else here? They have PS5 Pro Game Boost.
Bloodborne.
Which is kind of similar. Yeah, this is what you were talking about.
Bloodborne.
But this is kind of similar to like what Xbox has done, right? Where
shout out to Xbox Game Boost.
8,500 backward compatible PS4 games on PS5 Pro will stabilize or improve performance
Bloodborne
of those games, as well as some PS5 games.
We've been waiting so long for this. This is it. This is the moment.
Had to buy a $700 console.
Yep. They knew it.
Enhanced image quality.
This is some Disney shit.
Resolution on select PS4 games too. It will also launch with Wi-Fi 7. If you're buying a PS5 Pro, why the heck do you not have wired routing? Like, what is? No, get a wire over to that thing. Come on. Maybe it might be good for the Portal though. Well, actually, they would need a new Portal, wouldn't they, to also support Wi-Fi 7? I don't know. Maybe it'll still be better for the Portal because who knows? And then VRR 120 FPS 8K. As 8K. Well, which I think that it already did VRR and 8K on PS5. They patched in VRR. I don't know about the 120 FPS if it could support it.
I've done 120 on Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Nice. So that's just basic stuff.
Yeah.
CNET got hands-on.
It's actually the most insane thing of all time is 120. It's like, yeah, you have to see it to believe it. It blew my mind. It's like the only thing I've done 120 on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a 120 monitor, but there's plenty of PC games for sure. CNET got to go hands-on, and they also talked to Cerny, who gave them some stats about those TVs. So Cerny said over 25% of PS5 owners own a 120 FPS capable TV. 1 in 10 have VRR. And then for 8K, they say that's even less common. So like 8K is just not a priority. Nobody cares.
No, that's years away.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even years away. It's just like they tried it and people don't care.
Yeah.
So it's going like probably the way of Don's 3D.
Damiani always made me a believer of 2K, dude. We love 2K here.
Yeah. 1440p.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I think, but I think
don't need to jump up to 4K.
I think that's what people were saying too, though, is like with PSSR in particular, like Sony's just not going to target those weird in between resolutions. It's like 1080p or 4K essentially.
Yeah.
You can do it, but it's not going to be where it's optimized. They're going to have PS5 Pro enhanced games. Oh wait, one more thing from that CNET thing. They got to try out a bunch of games and put things side by side. They had a giant like 80-inch 8K monitor for like Gran Turismo.
Crazy.
But the ones he said there were some that like even there like he had to look at the side by sides
because you can't even tell
to tell.
We've been going through the same thing with Last of Us Part 2. Like, come on. Like, Last of Us Part 2 on PS4 or Part 2 remastered. It's like, you can barely tell here.
The ones
That's my thing. Like, without being able to side by side them, it's like, how are you going to notice?
Right.
Like, probably not.
The ones that they did notice the difference more clearly were FF7 Rebirth.
Yeah.
They said immediately looked a lot cleaner and sharper. And
that's the thing is I feel like going forward, you're going to start seeing those differences.
And then F1 and GT7 with the ray tracing additions. Like, yeah, he was like, oh, I was running into cars because I was distracted by the reflections on the other car.
I saw Remedy already hyping up Alan Wake 2.
Oh, sure.
And how much better it looks. They're really hyping it.
Yeah, and that's one of the ones that's a PS5 Pro enhanced. They're gonna have labels so that you know if something's been enhanced for Pro. And they got like a huge list here: Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Demon's Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2.
Like sometimes we can't tell the difference. Everyone's
Mostly
always,
any first party game. It seems
like, oh, we peaked with HD, blah blah blah. But like, I am always, you know my obsession with IMAX, my love for tech. Video games are technology. So yeah, like gameplay for me is number one, and then story, and then graphics. But like, even subconsciously, graphics are always a factor in a game. The first thing we do when we see a game is judge it based on how it looks. You're not even thinking about it, but like you're playing Last of Us, you are immersed because of those graphics. God of War, same thing. Like, we can say that it doesn't matter and it's not important, but I don't know. I think that's disingenuous to the entire medium because like graphics are part of video games.
I think one of the stories that's becoming more clear with this generation is that your breakout hits, they don't necessarily, like Fortnite.
Fortnite looks beautiful though. It's a style.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need the PS5 Pro.
No, it does not. It does not. Yeah.
Right?
Great call.
Balatro, one of the biggest hits of the year.
Does not need it.
Does not matter.
Minecraft.
For sure.
Yeah, Minecraft.
But there are times when graphics do matter. Like Space Marine 2 is not some like insane graphics game, but like it looks awesome. Like that adds to the experience. Like,
yeah. But what if I want Minecraft to look like the movie though?
No, you don't.
Oh God.
You do not. But it's the thing though, is like even Space Marine, it's like you're probably better off with them putting more things on screen.
Yeah.
Than
frame rate's more important than
to
graphics for sure.
Put in more ray tracing or something, right?
Yeah.
So, we already talked about the disk drive is getting scalpers already going.
Like Cyberpunk, how much do people love like cranking up the graphics in Cyberpunk? Like it's
one thing, and again back to my point about the CPU and like just because this is better doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be able to do ray tracing and frame rate and stuff. People pointed out that at least from the presentation that Cerny gave, you know how they showed that shot of like Hogwarts Legacy with ray tracing and stuff. People were like, well, that was only running at 30 frames per second. You know, even though they were showing the Pro version and upgrades.
You can give me all the graphics and like be 30 and I'll just be like, nah.
Right.
Nah, give me the 60 first.
So, let's see. The pre-orders are going to be on the PlayStation Direct on the 26th. Other retailers on October 10th. I got some Piscatella.
Nice.
Circana. In the U.S., PS4 Pro accounted for 13%.
Yeah, nothing.
Of total lifetime PS4 units.
It's for freaks.
And about 15% of dollars. Because it costs more. So that's the thing you're going to see with PS5 Pro. It's like, well, because it costs more, it's going to eat up a little bit more of that dollar amount.
It's like 3D movie tickets.
Yeah. Total PS4 unit volume trend did not change significantly when PS4 Pro released. So that's what he's saying. It's like you're basically getting the same market. Like you've got people that already got the PS4, not that many people that are upgrading directly from the past generation into the Pro directly. And then, it drove incremental sales to the super enthusiasts, not the mass base.
I'm a super enthusiast.
Yeah. And then GamesIndustry.biz said the actual unit number for PS4 Pro was 14.5 thousand out of the total all PS4 sales. So.
Wait, 14,500 PS4 Pros?
Yeah.
Total were sold? What?
Wait, 14.5 million.
Yeah. I was going to say.
I wrote down.
Yeah, that's
K versus M, whatever.
No, yeah.
Yeah, because there were 117 million PS4s sold.
Yeah.
So if that was 13%.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Okay. 14.5 mil.
Yeah.
Got it. Still a lot. That's millions. That's a lot. Jeez.
But I think the thing though is like the PS4 Pro was a half step to something that people were very clearly wanting, which was 4K.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, we want 4K, we want 4K. It's like, okay, we got a machine that will do 4K for you.
Sure, blood.
Whereas this, it's like, it's better.
Yeah,
but if you're Digital Foundry better, you know, it's like, most people aren't going to see it.
You're absolutely right. It's a harder sell for sure.
Yeah.
And there is nothing unique. They can't promise to like, oh, this game only runs on PS5 Pro because nobody wants that.
You know me, I'm a sucker for GTA 6, so we'll see what that all plays out. But GTA 6 aside, like I was just saying earlier, I love tech, you know? I just love it. And like, my PC is like good enough, I guess. It's like failing, so I could get a PC like instead. But yeah, then you go into the whole trade-in. There's just like so many different variables. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I had to throw this in there too, Huber, because I was surprised this morning because I got an email that said like fresh footage of Star Wars Jedi Survivor running on the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Oh, you thought it was PS5 Pro?
I was like, oh, is that a typo?
Yeah.
And then I looked at the email. I'm like, that was not a typo.
Yeah.
It is releasing on PlayStation 4 this week, and they were letting people. So like, think about that. We're talking about the PS5 Pro, and they're like, no, here's what it looks like on the PS4. Like, that is, that's what the market is right now.
Yeah.
And so I think it's crazy because it's like they had to, obviously, like, the PS5 Pro was planned before the PS5 launched, most likely. They had that stuff lined up.
4 years ago? That's a lot of...
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think they were like, here's the roadmap of what we're going to do hardware-wise. You know, it's like they had to actually research and like see what people were doing. But like as soon as that thing was out the door, they were working on what that was going to be, and they decided that the thing that they were going to do was a Pro model, and then figuring out what the Pro model was going to be, and obviously they're going to sell some. I don't think they're going to sell as many as they sold PS4 Pros. I wouldn't be surprised if they only sold half as many.
I agree, yeah. Because like you were saying, the 4K was such a big deal for the Pro, and this really, there is no singular selling point for it. You're so right. Other than backwards compatibility type stuff like Game Boost, which is a huge deal to a lot of people, but not big enough to shell out this amount of cash.
Well, and also my thing is like, especially with Sony lately, with like their weird various tiers and stuff on PSN, you know, like I'm used to Sony kind of promising big and under-delivering, you know, with this kind of stuff. So it's like they might claim that all these games are going to be backwards compatible or that they're going to boost and that it's going to look, you know, significant or noticeable. But like, I would want to wait and see like what Digital Foundry or somebody said before I would even think about believing them, you know?
Totally.
I don't know.
Yeah, but to me though, it's like I was thinking about this the other day. It's like remember the PS2 Slim?
I have it.
Yeah, I have it too.
It's the best.
Yeah,
fit that thing in my pocket.
It actually makes no sense.
The pocket of your Jinkos.
It makes no sense that the PS2 Slim exists. Like when you put that thing up next to an older PS2 and think that those were just like, what, 3 years apart,
Crazy.
if that?
Yeah.
You know, and that but that's why. That's what I'm saying, Huber. When they were putting the PS2 out there, somebody was like, engineering team, start working on a smaller, lighter, cheaper model.
Yeah.
And now that's not what they told the engineering team to do. They said, make us a Pro.
Yeah.
And make us a Pro is going to get them sales. But I think if they made a real Slim, Damiani's calling the current PS5 a Slim. Like, I don't even consider that a Slim. It's slightly smaller.
Yeah.
You know?
It says Slim in the title.
It says Slim.
PlayStation 5 console model group dash Slim.
Yep.
Official PlayStation
one of the
title.
biggest,
so not.
One of the biggest.
It's just not. Like when
It's
you
like
look
going
at
to an
the
audition.
PS2s, when you look at the Xbox, or not the Xbox, the PS3s, how those shrunk down over time. You know?
One of the biggest sells for the 4 for me too, Blood, was the noise. My PS4 was so loud.
Right.
And then the Pro was coming out, and it was like just another reason. It was like, yo, this is a good reason. Like, this is what at a time when I lived with someone and we would watch TV, and it was like, like a loud PlayStation. But now the PS5 is like quiet, so like we don't even get that benefit for the Pro. It's like,
Yeah.
I watched a YouTube video of a guy who does like custom builds or whatever. Like he'll make a PC that's like built into the desk or whatever. And he did he turned a PS5 into like a tablet, basically with a monitor on it, and it was like, I don't know, an inch or two thick maybe. Way smaller than a regular PS5, and it had a screen.
Yeah. And no wings.
And no wings. Yeah, no
I
labia.
still think the PS5 Slim, I'm looking at it like comparison photos again, just to jog my memory here. It's definitely shorter, definitely slimmer.
Do they have some like a ruler for reference though?
They're side by side facing you, like so. Like you're seeing the front, the V part, and in the disk drive part. You could see them. Like the Slim is definitely shorter, and then even at its like thick, the widest part at the base and at the top, because actually like the Slim actually slims down as it goes like that, like more of like a V rather than like a curve. Definitely looks like less wide. It looks like smaller there as well.
But you know what it's not, Damiani?
Okay, what is it not?
Cheaper.
That is true, but that's Sony's ball game. They've been playing this generation.
I
But the
should
ball
have-
game is that people are still playing PS4.
Yeah.
That's
I
that's the
mean,
ball game.
I don't know. They might raise prices on PS4 next. Don't worry. Watch out. PS4 Pro and PS4 going up in price.
Really shocking.
What if that's their play? That would
Watch
be
when the
so
Switch.
funny.
Watch when the Switch 2 gets announced. Nintendo will be like, also the Switch getting a price raise as well.
Really
new
shocking
normal.
they didn't lower it by $50. Like if they in the same breath had lowered the PS5 to $449, that's all it would have been. This would have been blown over. Everything.
I don't know if 50 would be quite enough to make a big dent, but it would have helped. Yeah.
It's good optics. And it's the right thing. Like this thing's been out for so long, and now you're adding another version that is better and like more expensive, and you're not going to just lower this one like a little bit.
Right.
Give us some freaking relief out here.
Xbox is doing a Series X with a 2 terabyte drive
That was my next question.
and no
is-
disc.
Yeah.
But that's it. It's not like more powerful or anything
Yeah.
like that.
That's my next question. How long until PS6? So like, is your PS5 gonna be switchy in like 2 or 3 years? Are we gonna start running into that?
Witchy.
Yeah. Are we gonna get there? Like, look at that console's age. That's normal. Like once this thing starts getting up there, like 6, 7, 8 years old. When is the next Xbox? Are they gonna counter this with an Xbox Series XXX or something?
That's the thing that I'm very
I
curious.
hope so.
Yeah,
But
triple X baby.
I'm very curious about because like Xbox started with this generation being like beyond generations, new paradigm, right? It hasn't amounted to anything. Like why is it called the Series, right? We started with a Series S and a Series X. It implied that there would be more. Like I was thinking we were gonna get iPhone kind of stuff. Like, it's like, okay, 3 years in, here is what would be equivalent to a Pro, but then another 3 years in, here's another one, and they just continually, it's just the Pro now. Like we're never gonna have a part where it's like, okay, we have to like upgrade to the next generation because they've gotten rid of that. We're just gonna get better models over time.
Yeah.
And there's not really been any movement on that, in terms of, okay, Xbox, what does beyond generations mean?
Yeah.
Other than your, somewhat spotty backwards compatibility.
It means they stopped focusing on exclusive games.
Well, now. Yeah, but I mean, that was part of it, right? The cloud stuff and the Samsung TVs and all of that.
Yeah. And Damiani, I know it's different because it's going to be a brand new console, Switch 2, but like everyone's number one complaint about Switch is that it's switchy, that the games don't look and run well. People want tech.
Everyone's number one complaint.
That's a big complaint for a lot of people. People are like, dude, give me a new Switch. Like, this thing is old now. Like, give me that new tech. So, like, I don't know. I think tech is more important than people want to admit.
Huber, I'm actually, like, the concern, I think, with the Switch is whether people will like with the PS4, like whether they will feel the need, like if it plays the same games.
Switch 2. Oh, will Switch 1 and 2 play the same games, you mean?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like, will people feel the need to
That's a-
upgrade? It's
that's a
like, oh, no, I've
Damiani
got a
question.
Switch. I don't need a new one, you know?
Yeah. Will the new Mario be on Switch 1 and Switch 2, Damiani?
Oh, you mean like cross-gen?
Yeah.
There might, I imagine there may be a chance for some cross-gen stuff, but at some point probably not. I don't know. I don't know. That's a big question mark with Nintendo. They have done, but like they have released games that have been on both, but like Breath of the Wild was on Wii U and on Switch as well. But you need, I don't know. That was like, I don't know how many others were after that. I feel like they don't generally do that.
They do like 2 or 3.
Yeah. I feel like they're gonna make you move on, and have to bring your stuff over to the Switch 2 eventually in games, like maybe the first launch game. But the thing is, those games, all those exceptions, they were originally announced for the previous system. So like Twilight Princess, GameCube, came out on Wii and GameCube. Breath of the Wild, announced for Wii U.
Yeah.
Like, here's Switch. Well, we're gonna at least honor that. So unless they announce like Metroid Prime 4 could be it, maybe. It's like, oh, Metroid Prime 4. Oh, it gets a delay. Oh, it's coming out on Switch too. But guess what? It'll also come out on Switch. Like something that's announced, obviously, I think is fair game. But anything once the Switch 2 is out and things are announced for Switch 2, I think they're just gonna be Switch 2 games when it comes to Nintendo.
It's the arithmetic on that is so interesting because it's like Switch 1 has a massive install base, but if you, like Blood was saying, if you don't force people to move on, 80% of the consumer base of Switch probably wouldn't. So it's like, which one makes you more money? It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved because that was a better reason to get the Wii also for Twilight Princess, Damiani, was the motion controls.
Debatable.
Yeah.
It was
the gimmick is
highly
the real
debatable.
question.
Yeah, I mean,
It was.
debatable, yeah, but like at the time it was hype.
Right.
You know, hindsight,
Absolutely.
whatever.
You mean
like at the time.
Skyward Sword was, but Twilight Princess, you could, no matter what motion you made, it did the same. It did a swing.
Yeah, but
It
it was
like
still-
It was still a novelty and cool.
You had more precise controls with the GameCube and more functionality with the GameCube controller than you did with the Wii. You could backflip off your horse on the Wii.
But
on the
I was
Wii
a
version,
kid
please.
and it was a
Show me how to do
novelty,
that.
so they got me, man.
Yeah.
It was exciting. It was
It was.
new.
Getting
Yeah.
the phone call from your daughter in Shattered Memories,
marble game?
that's life changing.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be really interesting too, because the other thing too is with these like crazy ratcheting up on the price ceilings, you know, like I think that's something like Nintendo has always been very aware of and like trying to keep their systems more
Yeah.
affordable, which is another reason why it's surprising that Switch has still not gotten a price cut.
Yeah.
But now, I think in particular with the Switch 2, like they've got to keep that in the affordable range.
Yeah.
Because if you make a Switch
Gonna be
2
tough.
$500,
Yeah.
then what's going to
No
be
way.
like, well,
400 is the
I mean,
Dreamcast sitting over there, you know.
yeah.
That was what I was gonna say. The Switch 2 has been out for years, and it's called the Steam Deck.
Right, but that thing is so much more expensive than a Switch, right? You can get
Yeah.
2 Switches for the price of one of those.
Also, Mario is infinitely more valuable than any
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Steam
Except
anything.
you can emulate everything on it, but whatever.
True.
Yeah.
Who said that?
I mean, I also think Nintendo still strongly cares about how their stuff performs in Japan, and with the state of the yen there, and related to the dollar, and how PlayStation just recently raised prices, and like what that converts to, it's like outrageous. Like how much is going to cost there. I don't see how the Switch 2 will be able to be around the same price as it was for Switch. Like I can see like in a region it costing more. Like they might go for like $349 or even $399 here in the US, but I wouldn't be surprised when you do the conversions. Japan, it's like much more expensive in Japan, but still under what you'd have to pay for an Xbox or a PlayStation. So whatever is that in between, that as much as I can stretch that, I think they're gonna have to go there.
I'm going to keep hoping.
Yeah, I still think the Switch 2 is probably gonna be around like, at least I think it's no cheaper than $399.
Yeah,
I
I
don't think it can be cheaper than $400.
400 feels right to me. Yeah.
400
remember-
feels high to me for sure.
Just remember, the doom and gloom. Remember, $599 US for the PlayStation 3 in like 2006, $600, almost 20 years ago. PS5, 2 generations later, was only $500.
Was it 500? Was it
was
$499 or
$500.
$599?
It was $500.
Yeah, 500, 400 for the no disc version.
Yeah.
Right,
And
okay,
the PS3 was 600. So like the I don't think the PS like 6 or the next Xbox or the next Switch hopefully will be, 700, 800, 900,
Oh yeah, no,
1,000.
It's
like
the
no
Pro model, right?
Yeah,
and that's,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's one of the things Piscadillo was talking about too. It's like
Yeah.
we are in the age of the Pro model, like Pro iPhone, the Pro controllers, the giant collectible special edition game packages.
I think the difference though is a lot of those Pros is like especially like iPhone, it hits day and date with the base model. This mid-generation refresh, I think, is like kind of starting to piss off people when it comes to video games. Like for me,
just let us upgrade.
I didn't feel PS4 Pro was worth it in the end, honestly. Like I'm kind of like, damn, I kind of got taken for a ride on that. I didn't really need a PS4 Pro. And now I'm like, I really don't need a PS5 Pro. Like I'm not falling for this again. Like as I said, like either wait to build like a PC and put that money towards it, or just say like I'm saving that money and my trade-in towards PlayStation, 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think it's going to be worth it for that incremental upgrade, honestly, for that price.
I stuck with the PS4 and I was good. So
I had the Pro and I was happy. So
the only game that was like, I was really like, oh, I kind of wish I had a Pro was like Control. Like Control was a bit rough on the
Death
PS4
Stranding,
base, but yeah.
Red Dead 2 had like a little more stability.
No, Death Stranding was great.
Yeah, it was great. But greater greater.
But I think that's the problem here. Most people don't care about greater.
Yeah.
If it's great, then it's great.
Yeah.
If you're not seeing a game struggling,
Yeah. The
then
struggle.
why do you care?
Make it
Yeah.
make it buckle.
All right. Let's talk about the racing game of the year. I Am Your Beast. People may not know what this game is, although it's doing pretty well on Steam. I've been playing I Am Your Beast this week, and it is a very fast-paced, run-back FPS. Just like really great level designs. Here's some of my. Well, it'll be here in a second.
It looks
Here's
so fun.
Some of my gameplay.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, so this is from Strange Scaffold, same guys that did El Paso Elsewhere and Airport Dog Game and a bunch of other stuff, Sunshine Shuffle. But basically, you are, as Zalavier puts it, Black Jason Bourne. You live in a hideout in the woods, and this government agency comes and is like, we need you for one last job. And you're like, no,
Love One Last Job.
I'm done. I was done 5 one last jobs ago.
Hell yeah.
I'm not coming in. And then they send all of these agents to come bring you in. And
You're like, nah.
yeah, you just blast them all.
Hell yeah. Leave me alone.
Your one last job is avoiding doing the one last job. That's awesome.
It's just like, it's just taking down all these guys that are like in your turf trying to abduct you, right? And so it's really quick. It's really snappy. You get through levels pretty fast, and then like once you start like running it back and getting it down, like you can get through levels in like 45 seconds.
Sick.
You just saw a whole level, and now I'm doing another level, and it's about to end.
Yeah.
And what's cool is once you've finished a level, like it immediately like unlocks like a challenge, and so it could be like, go through and only do melee kills, get this many knife kills, get this many bear trap kills, go through without killing anybody, which is one of the harder freaking ones because you are a killing machine, right? Like just stomp on a guy's head and he's dead, right? So the one with the not getting any kills, it was tricky because there were points where there were like explosions set up where they would like lead to the next path.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of had to like bait guys out of that cave so they wouldn't get blown up when I triggered the explosion. But
So you kind of got to play with them a little bit.
Yeah, but I still also am like trying to do it as fast as possible because it's ranking you for like CBAS ranks, and S ranks are really tricky to get to. And along with your speed, all of the kills that you get also like subtract time.
Got it.
So like people are already getting negative times because they're getting the right kills. They're figuring
Yeah.
out how to optimize those points and all of that. And there's lots of other like really great, just stylish things. Like for one, like almost every level, there'll be like 2 levels tied to it, but there'll be like a little intro cutscene of like a conversation between you and the guy who wants to bring you in, or you and another character, whatever. And those are just done really smart. It's like pretty much just audio and text. Like you don't have to worry about like cutscene animations or anything like that. And really great music. They mix up the music and stuff too, so that like you're not just like listening to the same thing all the time.
Angerfoot.
Yes. And then just like everything feels good, right? Like you toss a gun at a guy and knock him down, and then grab his gun out of the air and then blast him when you hit the barrels, and just like stuff goes flying everywhere. They have Zalavier does a lot of like TikToks and stuff, and he talked about like a couple of days before launch. He talked about why the game doesn't have leaderboards, and he's like,
Great question.
Every time you make a game, you're making choices. You're having to choose between this thing and that thing. Like you can't do all of it, right? Especially depending on your scope and your timeline. And so he basically was like, well, our choices, we could have taken the time to put in leaderboards, or we could put in wasp nests, and we picked the wasps.
It's very
And so
funny.
you can shoot a wasp nest, and then it falls, and then all the guys in that area get killed by wasps. And the sound design on it is so good. He's like, bit, 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 and they're dead. Just a bunch of sting.
It's awesome. Very playful.
And
For
it's
such
like,
a violent game.
And it's like, it is supposedly, they told me it was 3 hours long, right?
Not replaying missions, probably.
I guess.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm like 20 something
I know you,
missions
bud.
into 27,
I
and
know
I put
you.
like 9 hours into
Because
this
you
game.
need those
Yeah.
S ranks, dude. I know you. You're like, I can do this.
Well,
I can get this. S.
No, I don't always go for the S rank. I've just gotten a couple of S ranks. Those 2 that you saw are the only ones that I've gotten so far. But I was like, I don't want to move on until I've hit A.
That's what I mean.
I want to hit the A
That's
rank.
you. You always talk about this with like RPG bosses, where you're like, I'm gonna beat this boss. I should move on, but I'm gonna beat it. Like, so funny.
This feels like super hot mixed with neon white, kind of.
Yes.
Oh,
very
yeah.
neon white for sure.
Yeah, I got very into like I need to hit the A rank in this like on neon white. Yeah.
And there will be like other like objectives sometimes that you have to do where here's some wasps.
The bees.
So like sometimes you'll have to like activate laptops to be able to open the exit. Sometimes there'll be like little satellite dishes to destroy. Sometimes there's actually some levels that are not time-based.
Yeah.
They're points-based, and you just gotta like kill all the enemies that come
That
through.
is so nice. Break it up a little bit,
Yeah.
Blood. I love that. That's essential, man. 'Cause
Sometimes they
this
got
seems-
helicopters that are flying over, and you
Yeah.
gotta like avoid the helicopter.
My next
while you're doing
question
everything.
was like, how stressful is this? It seems just nerve-wracking because the timer is always ticking. It's so fast-paced.
Yeah, well, it's like when you're doing it the first time, like your mind is just like, I'm just gonna beat it.
Just
Right.
flow, yeah.
Yeah, and then when you're doing there's a bear trap. Like it's like you don't have to just put a bear trap down. You can throw it at a guy's face and snap his head off. But that's the thing is like there's all these little things like here, like you just jump onto trees, and then you got like the aerial view, and the level design is such that like, you figure out how to optimize the path. It's not necessarily always obvious. And so sometimes, like, I've done it a couple of times, and it's like, oh, I didn't know I could go up that way and then go the backside of, getting these snipers or something.
This is a speedrunner's paradise.
Yeah.
This game is going to be nuts.
Well, I mean,
So watch the speedrunners, like, pick it
oh,
apart.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those guys that are getting negative times, it's going to be so interesting to watch.
Yeah. So nuts.
But yeah, I don't know what else to put in there.
Dude,
oh
but it
yeah,
looks
like
so sick.
if you punch a guy or throw a weapon or slide into him, like you'll knock him down but not kill him. So that kind of helps with your non-lethal runs.
Yeah.
So you're not just walking into bullets all the time.
So you can non-lethal the whole game?
No, but
Okay.
like there are times when you cannot.
Got it.
There's challenges where you can't kill anybody.
Yeah.
So, but if you throw a gun at them, you'll knock them down for a few seconds, and then
got
you
it.
can keep going. So yeah, Lots of sick stuff.
Are there hand grenades?
I have not seen any hand grenades yet, but they do like introduce new things as you go through, right? Like I didn't see an assault rifle for a while. I didn't see a sniper rifle for a while. But like with the sniper rifle, it's like you get 3 shots.
Yeah.
Right? And so
situational.
You can hip fire that thing and shoot a bullet through like 3 people.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is there a flamethrower?
Have not seen a flamethrower yet. Also there's like health all over. Like you can grab just like herbs and health kits.
Nice.
To keep going.
What was that game I played where you were like a sniper and you had to scout around the edges?
Yeah. What was that game?
I know what you're talking about.
It was really cool.
The one shot or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really cool. It made me kind of sad, but it was really cool. This reminds me of like a first-person action version of that. Cult of the Sun. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Good pull.
But yeah, there it is. Check it out.
Children of
fun.
the Sun. Yeah.
Is there any character progression, like any kind of leveling up or unlocks or anything like that, or is it just just go for
Nothing
the
like that
S
at all.
ranks? Like anything for getting the S ranks?
Nope.
No, chill.
Yeah, maybe later there will be some like, because I think there are bonus missions and I haven't seen them yet, so maybe that has something to do with bonus missions.
Just for fun, dude.
But
I love
maybe
it.
if you, maybe you have to beat the
Satisfaction.
whole game first, and
Unlock,
then
like
maybe things will unlock. But
Yeah.
I've like I said, I got like 5 to 10 missions left, something like that.
Cool, dude.
Sick.
Looks sweet as hell, blood.
Yeah.
PC only right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is actually coming to phones next year.
Phones.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Oh.
Huh.
but I'm pretty sure that they don't have console.
Got it. Probably waiting on the PS5 Pro. Those enhancements.
There's a bundle with Arco, which I don't know if you saw that game come out recently as well. So you get
No.
a Steam bundle with Arco. It's one of those games that's like, it hasn't been doing well, but everyone that's played it said it's amazing.
That's sad.
Yeah. So I think they're kind of helping them out by doing that.
Sounds like Concord.
But yeah, Steam, GOG, and itch.io, and then iOS next year.
Sick.
But yeah, if it comes to consoles, play it. Because I've been playing on controller, and I was a little worried about that at first. It's like,
Yeah, it
well,
definitely
is this
looks
something
twitchy,
I feel
like-
like I need to play on mouse and keyboard, but I tried it with controller, and like, oh, okay, I'm good with this.
Yeah.
Sick.
How long are the are there cutscenes in between missions? Like how long is the downtime in
That's what I'm
between
saying.
missions? Are you just like
those
boom, boom, boom?
conversations
Yeah.
between you and the other guy,
Yeah.
and it's like maybe a minute.
Yeah, got
Yeah.
it.
So,
Dope, blood.
and there's a nice escalation
Sick.
too as you get deeper in.
When Blood said that, he had a twinkle in his eye. So very excited.
There's some other mechanics that play into story.
Cool.
I just say.
Shit,
I
man.
didn't capture any of that because I thought that'd be like a little too deep.
Add it to the list.
All right, story that broke over the weekend and then broke harder just before this podcast. Stuff is going down at Annapurna Interactive, and who knows what the future of that company looks like. If you're not necessarily familiar with Annapurna, they're basically like a boutique indie publisher. They've put out a lot of cool stuff and then like given developers time to like really polish and giving them support, giving them connections to like all of these like kind of like celebrity actors and things like that. But they've done Lorelai and the Laser Eyes, Flock, Cocoon, What Remains of Edith Finch, Stray, Thirsty Suitors, even
What was that? 12 minutes? 6
12
minutes?
minutes. Yeah, maybe not one of the highlights, but yes.
Yeah, not one of the highlights for sure. But definitely the Hollywood connection there.
Yes. Yeah. And they've also picked up things that were previously from Sony Santa Monica, like Unfinished Swan and Journey and Flower.
Those are 3 10 out of 10s.
Yeah, because some of the people that were previously Sony Santa Monica people, when that stopped being an indie thing, basically were part of Annapurna Interactive.
Got it.
Coming up.
I didn't know that.
But there's been a split going on with the heads of Annapurna entirely, the main company and the people that were Annapurna Interactive. And we heard, the Hollywood Reporter talked about this over the weekend, where Deb Mars and Nathan Vella, who are the heads of Annapurna Interactive,
I don't like where
were
this is
leaving.
going.
Now, Jason Schreier's reported basically everyone. like 20, like the 25 member staff has resigned because because of differences of direction with the people that are running Annapurna, like the whole company with the films and TV and everything.
What's a good word for a mutiny?
Exactly.
A rebellion.
Exactly. So
it's a rebellion.
It sounds like they were looking to like, hey, we don't want to go this way. We will just, we'll find a way to spin off, and Annapurna Interactive will just be our own thing, and we won't be involved with you guys anymore. And those negotiations broke down and didn't happen. And so like, all right, we're leaving then.
Jeez.
So, and what it sounds like, because they're saying that like they're integrating Interactive into the core company.
Yeah.
And they're talking now about wanting to expand into making bigger games and AAA games and all of this stuff. And I think that's not where everybody wanted to go. And we
cautionary tale, dude. Telltale Games over here.
Remember just like a couple of weeks ago, they did that deal with Control 2.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we will fund Control 2 and we will start developing TV movie stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happening. A lot of developers that work with Annapurna don't know what's happening. They're keeping their catalog.
So where are the people that resigned? Where are they going?
They are probably going to spin up their own company, it sounds like.
Okay.
It's probably going to do it anyways, but they're going to have to like build up a whole new client base and stuff.
Yeah.
Is the group that walked, is the reporting saying that they did not want to go for bigger titles like AAA that Annapurna was saying that they like as the company was saying they were going to start expanding into, or like is there any is the report giving any insight into like what may have suggested why they did this?
It basically just says a dispute with the owner.
Okay.
And then what is this? Nathan Gary, who had been the president of Annapurna Interactive, said all 25 members of the Annapurna Interactive team collectively resigned. This was one of the hardest decisions we've ever had to make, and we did not take this action lightly. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
What the actual difference in opinion was, I don't know, but it seems like it could have to do with that.
I guess I hope it's like something like that, where they just like felt like the company's direction was better served by staying with smaller titles, like you're saying, the boutique. But I mean, they don't own the company, it seems, so they probably want to move on. I just hope it's not something like else, something worse.
Yeah.
Usually when a lot of people resign like that, it could also be for another issues. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously they've got several games that are on contract and in the works and all of that kind of thing. So it will probably take some time for us to see exactly what the results of this are.
Like how is this? We don't know how this is impacting all those existing deals, right?
Right.
Oh crap!
They're maintaining their catalog with like a handful of skeleton crew, and then and then are going to have to hire people to fill in the gaps.
Okay.
So it's going to be very much like. It feels like it's going to be very similar to what happened with Humble, right? When that happened because of layoffs, but this is it's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, a mass resigning is very mysterious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it may have something to do with they brought back where is it? I've got to figure out where my note is for this. They brought back some guy who was at Epic Games before. He was at Annapurna originally, and then he went to Epic, and then he came back to Annapurna. Hector Sanchez. Yeah. And so I don't know if maybe there was some history there, but it seems to me more that it probably just has to do with like they didn't want to be pushed into the bigger organization and make big AAA games.
Reminds me of like High Moon Studios and stuff, just like going from making cool licensed games to like Call of Duty maps, It's like it's cool, it's a job, but like if you want to work on those small, like you're saying, those small boutique like indie games, then it makes sense to just get out of there.
Well, there's a lot of people, like especially in the indie side of things, that well, like Strange Scaffold making I Am Your Beast in like less than a year or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that are like,
You can do
hey,
so much.
The AAA is just not sustainable.
Exactly.
And
you
if
work on
that's the
one
way
game for
the
7
people
years.
at Annapurna feel, they're like, what? No, we don't need to do this. We don't need to like create this crazy budgets that are going to spiral out of control.
Yeah.
And, yeah. But
Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry, I was curious. So some people talk about like what's up with Control and Remedy. So there's Annapurna Pictures and Annapurna Interactive. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
there was the company run by
Remedy is
Megan
not.
Ellison.
Yes, this is not going to impact Remedy or Control or Alan Wake. Okay.
I mean, that plays into something I was speculating in my head about just now, where it's like, because like there were reports for a while that Annapurna was kind of floundering, Annapurna Pictures, like
Right.
they weren't doing well, and like I wonder if the impetus for folding in Interactive was to try to like shore up Pictures, cause like make it one big company that's doing okay instead of one company that's doing well and one company that's failing.
Try to even out the balance.
Try to
sheet
even
or
it out.
something.
Yeah, like I wonder.
Great point.
It's weird. Because like I feel like people are probably maybe looking at it backwards instead of like it wasn't Interactive that was failing, it was Pictures that was failing.
Feels like A24 kind of ate their lunch, huh?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And Neon.
Oh, yeah, I keep
and,
forgetting. Like there's A24 and Annapurna, but like both those come up. It's like, I mean, I guess for games when you see Annapurna, like it's kind of like, you know, eye catching. It kind of commands your attention. So it's like, just I don't know. This still seems like this is not like the complete doom end of this or whatever, but like possibly this leading and like, you know, snowballing into like the end of like Annapurna possibly is like, like they seemed like they were like kind of unstoppable. Like I was like, this is like the last thing I would ever think of, like, oh, Annapurna's in trouble, like or something's going wrong behind the scenes. Like what? They seemed like they had their stuff together, at least outwardly presenting and all like their presentations. I don't know if like this gives me like this is such a bummer, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully devs can figure out what's going on, and you know, if they don't like the changing of the guard, they can figure out how to move on as well. And then I guess we'll like on both sides. I'm going to be very curious to see what happens. I want to see what the Annapurna name means in the future without all of those creatives making those very curated decisions. And 25 people just left to do what now?
Yeah.
What is the plan? What does it look like? How long is it going to take before we see an announcement?
Probably a minute.
Yeah.
I mean,
you would think if they're going to all collectively resign and be on board, they've got some kind of plan.
Yeah.
Also, like, I don't know like how the contracts work in video games, but I mean, this is what like salespeople generally historically do. Like when they work for a company, a bunch of salespeople walk because they have their clients, their sales. That's them. The company usually doesn't have a right to those. They have whatever has already been contracted. They're fine, but like if those people walk, they're not going to renew their contracts with the company. They're going to renew their contracts with the people. So I imagine whatever is already like locked by the current Annapurna probably stays, but anything going forward, those people are probably going to go to the 25 people and be like, all right, you're the real people who made this happen. So we're just going to come to you with our next projects for everything. So I wonder if it's like, this is that they're just going to start up literally another Annapurna that's just not called Annapurna. And all the games, some of the ones that can wiggle out of their contracts will probably just go with them anyway. And any of those developers are just going to be like, our next project, we're going over to you as well, which would probably mean, I don't know, bad news for current version of Annapurna Interactive with like one employee now, I guess, right? That's what they have.
But that's kind of what they, in a way, almost it's like, it seems to be more the direction they're going anyways, right? Because they've got the Blade Runner game they're making in-house, and they're talking about making AAA games. So, like, does current Annapurna even want to do indies anymore? And is that why there was a split, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and also, like, the people who left, I believe, were the they're a publisher. They're none of them were devs or anything.
Yeah.
And so it's like, not that being a publisher is not also important, you know, but it's like, it's kind of funny because the success of Annapurna Games kind of trafficked in the indie darling status of Annapurna Pictures, at least to begin with. And like they made really good choices on games with really good visuals that kind of made their brand, you know? And so it's kind of strange as like, can the industry support or does it need another indie publisher, or will indies just kind of like it's awesome if they are able to go and get funding to fund other indie games, you know? But I'm like, where are they going to get this money from? Like these 25 people. Like I find myself curious if that's possible.
Yeah. That's why
what cachet does this group of 25 people have?
I mean,
you know,
Deb Mars and Nathan Vella have a lot of reputation. Yeah. So I mean that alone, I think, is going to help them. But
yeah, that's why I was thinking about
embraced.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's what I was saying about like, their relationships, and like the analogy I brought up earlier is like I think they probably have, you know, taking it out either on like, you know, maybe it's not like in writing, but like, you know, a handshake agreement that like some of these developers will move over to them if their contracts allow. So like they probably like those 25 people probably know these studios are going to move over with us. Like Jerry Maguire, it's like, who's coming with me, you know? But like instead of just one person, all of them are going to come this time. So
they
it's
would have
like
to buy out the contracts probably.
Well, I mean, what if they like were upcoming projects that haven't been like announced yet, and like they were still in the, you know, sometimes things aren't signed, and some I don't know. I think there's sometimes a way. Yeah, and I wonder if like I don't know. Like I feel like they do. Like I would hope they had a plan, and my guess would be like they know some things about some of these projects will be able to upcoming ones or ones that weren't fully locked down yet by like, you know, like a legal contract would be able to bail and move over with them. So otherwise, maybe they're not all staying together. Then that's the answer. They're all going separate ways and they aren't making their own thing. You know, which would stink.
Separate ways.
Yeah.
All right, we will see. Damiani, let's talk about some games now. You were playing the Castlevania Dominus collection.
So many games.
Which, Shadow dropped a couple weeks ago.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like before this, I had to like boot them up because like I had finished because there's 3 games on the collection. There's Dawn of Sorrow, the sequel to Aria of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia. It's not Ecclesia, it's Ecclesia. They pronounce it in the game. I never knew that.
I got that wrong.
So it's a collection of 3 DS games that are brought to other platforms. Finally, I played them on the Switch. If you're wondering, because it was a DS dual screen, touchscreen, you can either use touchscreen inputs for when they're prompted, or you can use the right analog stick at points, and it's like a mouse cursor, and you can adjust the speed. There's like 3 speed settings for it, and you can use the right analog stick for motion inputs as well. So like if you need to like, for example, in Portrait of Ruin, I believe it's Portrait of Ruin, you have to draw the signs. You have to like draw these like seals. Dawn of Sorrow. Dawn of Sorrow, you have to draw these seals. They start simple, like it's a 3 like line 1, 3 dots, and they get way progressively more complicated. You can just use your fingers to trace it on the screen, or you could use the right analog stick and move the cursor to trace them as well. Like it's whatever you prefer. So there's stuff like that. But other than that, it's those 3 games. The screen layout for this, there's like 5 or 6 different options. The best, you can make like the bottom screen and top screen about like equal side by side. The default one is like the main top screen taking up a majority of the like left side of your screen, and then like the right third is a column where they put like both it seems like on the first 2 ones, the bottom screen switch between like not the pause menu, but like your status menu and the map of the castle or map of where you are. But you can have both up at the same time, or if they're really small. I'm gonna say I played in handheld mode exclusively for this. I didn't play these on TV. That's a little too damn small. So I'd highly recommend if you're playing it on Switch in portable mode, you need to go with the 2-screen only option, not 3 screens on one screen. That's like you just can't. The map, you're trying to look for these tiny little openings that show like a path to go forward, you might have missed. I'm like, you cannot see that. So, but there's a lot of options. You can change like the background color, the style. So pretty comprehensive. They got like the extras. They got artwork, like the music gallery. You can go look at like a bunch of extra stuff. When you like hover over the icons, when you're in the main menu, it plays like the opening movie for all of them, like an anime for each of them. That's pretty cool. So I would say like it's like on that regard, it's like kind of like a nice package like that. And it's got like the save states. It's got like hit the left trigger on Switch. Brings up a special menu. You can create your saves there. If you hold it down, you can rewind. Rewind tech, little like it works, but it's a little like stiff. As in like it takes a while to start rewinding. It's not as smooth as like Switch. Like Nintendo's own rewind functions and their own retro catalog stuff. That stuff like is much better, and I really wish we could get that. But if you've done any other ones, it's the same one, the Konami little rewind bar. It can get a little frustrating at times because it doesn't seem like it starts rewinding fast enough, and then like it's so slow to start up. So that's like one serious complaint. I wish they could like tweak the rewind functionality to be a little bit smoother, because you're using it usually when you die, and I just want to rewind real quick to a safe spot, and I'll hold it down for a second, and it's like reloads like the moment you got hit. I'm like, okay, I got to hold it a little bit longer than I thought. It's a little imprecise at times, I feel. So maybe that could be cleaned up. But as for the games themselves, I played the GBA collection last year, and I think I really only thought Aria of Sorrow was really good. The other two, I think I wasn't as impressed by them as people had made them out to be. But this is the one everyone speaks so highly of. Like, these are the ones that are like rival Symphony of the Night. Like, these are like the next best Castlevanias, period. So like, if you're looking for something like as close to Symphony of the Night as possible, these are the ones you play. And I will say that, man, I think I really enjoyed Dawn of Sorrow. I really enjoyed Portrait of Ruin. Portrait of Ruin grew on me. It took a while to grow on me, but I ended up really, really liking it. I am not a fan of Order of Ecclesia.
Whoa.
I think that one, I do not like that game. I don't understand the praise for it. It's so structurally, let me just like say why. The first two games are literally Metroidvanias in Dracula's castle, with Portrait of Ruin having an extra layer of there are literally portraits like it's Mario 64. Mario 64 or think of Dark Souls, like the portraits, you're jumping into them too, and it's a linear world. I mean, there might be some branching paths, but it's a stage, old-fashioned Castlevania stage.
Oh yeah.
And that's it. And then you beat a boss and then you leave. You can keep going back to it, the search for more stuff, but it's not part of the castle. It's its own self-contained area. And I think the reason they did this is because they come up more like crazy, fantastical. Like you go to like ancient Egypt. It's like you can't have really ancient Egypt in the castle. I mean, I guess you could, but it might, it's like out in the desert. You have like these giant sandworms. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And they have other environments that are like that. I think that they're just doing something a little bit more unique with that. But like you still only access them through the portraits. So that's where I was like a little like, oh God, how am I gonna have to backtrack through these? And honestly, the warp system that all these games have, it was very convenient to warp to them. So I was like, oh, thank goodness. Like, but it still had like the Metroidvania aspect. Ecclesia is old-fashioned Castlevania, where it is like with an RPG element where you have like a map you look at and there are stages. And as you complete the stage, you unlock a new stage. You can go back to old stages and do stuff there as well, but it's extremely linear. And it's like you finish the level, you unlock a new level. And I'm like, oh God, I want Metroidvania. What is this? And there's a hub village with villagers that give you side quests. And some of those quests suck. Like you have to grind for items, and I'm like, I had looked up stuff and like, oh, it's just a very low drop rate. Like, good luck. I'm like, this is terrible. I was like, and the rewards suck. I was like, these are just what am I even wasting my time with half this stuff? So that was just like a complete turnoff. Like I stopped focusing on the side quests, didn't even care about it. But I mean, I would say you need to at least rescue all the villagers. They're all hidden through different stages. Otherwise, you don't get to do the real thing at the end. But then after you do like this, like 6 hours, like 5 to 6 hours of the game where you're doing these stages, and it's hard. Ecclesia is like the hardest Castlevania game ever made. If I didn't have the rewind function, there's no chance I'd beat this game. I'm like, and even with rewind, I was struggling. Like, oh my god, what in the hell is this game? Like, am I doing something wrong? And I was like looking up stuff and like, nope, it's just like learn the patterns, don't get hit. I'm like, but this is insane. Anyway, so very highly difficult. So I can only sympathize with people who played it like originally with none of these saves or rewind tech. Structurally, I hated the linearity of it. And then you get Dracula's Castle.
But do you like Castlevania 1 and like Super Castlevania 4, Damiani?
But those were then, and I loved playing them.
Yeah.
And I don't really like. I was like, oh, I like if I have the option between one or the other, I want Metroidvania. It's like, give me the Metroidvania one. And these levels, they're not even good. Some of them is like they're boring. They're not like the environments. Like I didn't think they were that good. Like it wasn't like fun to explore, and it felt super linear with very few like secrets to find. There are secrets, but honestly, it was a stark comparison to the Metroidvania design. I was like, oh man, Castlevania is way better when they have Metroidvania than it is stage-based.
Super Castlevania 4, though, is one of the goats.
But it's like peak. That's like that and Rondo of Blood are like peak of the old design. And I don't understand, like, as like it seems very impossible to outdo that at this point.
Yeah.
And this doesn't do that. And then you get to Dracula's Castle, and it's like, oh, now you have Dracula's Castle. It's a slightly smaller version, so it's not like an entire game of the previous two games size, but it's also incredibly linear too. It has some like branching paths, but like it is nowhere near as much freedom as the other two games. So, and it's definitely leans more into RPG elements. It has a glyph system where when you kill certain enemies, they leave like a glyph on screen that Shinoa, the main character, can absorb, and then you equip those glyphs. So you can have like a left and right one, and then like if you use the same of the two, like if you use two like swords, you can combo them a little bit faster. But it's not stamina, but like your magic meter, it basically uses your magic meter. It'll always auto regen, but like it always depletes it too. So like you can't just keep spamming attacks forever. And then like you have a third ability, which is these games have been doing for a while, which is kind of like a special ability, ranging from like being able to turn in like, a cat and fight like in cat form, have an owl follow you around and like fight with you, stuff like that. And then you have like your other passives, and then you have gear. All these games have gear. Now all three of these games do the same thing. It's just like there's no whip. There's no whip in Ecclesia. First Castlevania game without the trademark whip. So I was a little bummed out by that too. I was like, yo, no whip? What? I was like, all right. And honestly, like the weapon variety, like, I don't know. You can combine, there's like you can get special effects by depending on which two glyphs you combine. And the gear has some like more, it's definitely, I would say there's more like modern Souls-esque like stuff to the gear where there's like hidden attributes that aren't clearly explained. Like there's a ring that like is more powerful the lower your HP gets, but it's just called devil ring. And it says like increases stats, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, and I looked online. Oh, the descriptions a lot of these are wrong or make no sense. Like one of them is called the tower ring, prevents you from getting blown away. And it's like, no, it absolutely does not. There's a part where there's a glyph at the top of this cave with the gust blowing you, and I'm like, yo, this is where you use it. Put it on, still getting blown away. I'm like, what? And I go online, like, that's not what it does. I'm like, okay. So, I'm sorry. Like that negative stuff, get out of the way. Ecclesia, I didn't really like it. Interesting what they tried to do. Like it definitely leaned more RPG. But I like Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, amazing. Dawn of Sorrow, it's like continues that kind of like system you had where you like harvest souls from any enemy, and like that's like, and you have your regular gear abilities, then you have your soul abilities, and all these three games you can have multiple loadouts. So if you like a certain build, you don't have to like go in and unequip everything. I think like Ecclesia gives you like 3, the other thing give you 2. but like it's really fun to like see like the different souls you get, because you're killing an enemy, you get their special power. It's like, oh, but you still have the traditional weapons as well, and you got like merchants. You got like the merchant. You have like his name's Hammer. He'll sell you stuff. You got Yoko. Belnandis, related to the one for the Castlevania cartoon anime or whatever. Like I think, I don't know where it is in the timeline and stuff. I don't really follow a lot of that stuff, but like those characters help you along the way, and really good boss fights. Like I felt like it was a really good challenge and good sense of exploration. So it was like a good continuation of like of Aria of Sorrow. These titles are gonna throw me for a loop here. Almost like Square Enix Kingdom Hearts levels here. But yeah, and like as I said, the stylus control stuff was kind of cool. Like you beat a boss, you gotta like draw the symbol and stuff, and like you mess it up, it doesn't fully refill the boss's health, but like it's like go again. It's like you gotta get a few more hits in before that opportunity presents to seal the boss again. So a little bit of like tension, good rewards too. Like when you beat the game, you can play as you get to alternate between 3 different characters when you beat the game. You get Alucard, Yoko, and Julius, who's kind of like a Belmont. And so you can switch between their 3 forms and go through like the whole game like that. It's so sick. I was like, dude, like it's so fun to do that. And they have like extra boss rush stuff. And then Portrait of Ruin. Sick thing about this, 2 characters. So you toggle between it's Jonathan and Charlotte. And they have their slightly different. Charlotte's like more magical user. Jonathan's got like the whip, or can use physical weapons as well. But you can summon them to be alongside you, and they'll fight alongside you. And dude, the best thing, Huber, old beat 'em up style bosses, drop one on one side, you get on the other, tag team them from each side with the AI.
Nothing better.
So fun. And then they got like combo attacks too, like their rush mode attacks, and you can like do you unlock different ones of those. So fun. And like there's just like a lot of different combinations you can do with that. And yeah, like there are different play styles, like knowing like certain boss that you want to like, oh, like Jonathan's not very good at this. Let's bring in Charlotte and then have Jonathan be the support. And I really like that. And I thought like, again, this was a good challenge level and awesome bonuses for this one too. You can play as Richter when you beat the game and go through as Richter. Dude, it's like God mode. Like you just like wreck everything. And he's got all his moves too. So it's just like, let's go. And then there's these 2 sisters who are an important part of the story. And there's a mode called Sisters mode where you get to play as them. And they have unique gameplay where they use the touch screen motion controls. So one of them, you aim the mouse cursor and fire out like these ice projectiles in a constant stream, like a beam. The other one's like slash attacks. Oh. And one's like physical damage, one's like magical. So you gotta like, they can't fight at the same time, but you like switch between them depending on enemy types. And yeah, it's just like a fun bonus to have there. Yeah, sorry, that's a lot of description there, but like I really like the new additions. Like I liked the partner mechanic in Portrait of Ruin. Love the layout, love the secrets, love the bonuses. Good music as well. Felt good to play. Like a lot of the different weapons felt really good to play. Same with Dawn of Sorrow. Felt like a really good built upon Aria of Sorrow, which was like also like a really good entry in the series. But yeah, I just think in my opinion, Order Ecclesia is just not for me. It feels, and that's the more recent one, and I feel like never go back to that, please. Like, just don't. I never want to see that type of Castlevania again.
What's to do with Haunted Castle Revisited?
Yeah, that's before you get to that though, because it's a whole change of subject. Because I was looking at my review for Order of Ecclesia. I give it an 8.8. But I wanted to show it, but it was like the only thing I could find on YouTube is like some guy that like yanked it and it's like 360p and it looks like garbage. So it's like, all right. And he also put cards on the end so you can't see the score. But I do have the Metacritic quote. Not a drastic departure, but it's a clear step up with tweaks to gameplay and level design and a cast of creative new enemies. Despite being broken up into smaller levels, there's still a heavy emphasis on exploration, and the merciless boss fights provide a satisfying challenge, Damiani, for any seasoned vampire hunter.
No.
Blood seasoned.
I went to the reception area of this game's entry on Wikipedia, and I was like, Okay. Everyone giving it good scores. I'm like, all right. A good thing I just started, like, I guess the year, was this 2008? Yeah. I was like, yes, I just started in the industry. 2008, Order of Ecclesia, 2008. So it's like, I just started in the industry like a few months earlier. So it's like, good thing I didn't review that, because I would have been like giving this game like a 6 something, man.
Maybe.
That's so funny. I was really happy with that script too. It was a nice, tight script.
Dying back then was fine because there were less games, so it didn't matter. It's
script, but
it was better. It was a little bit better writing. The first Dawn and Portrait are like late 90s 2000 era like anime inspired game, like cheese. Like it's like, oh god, it's funny. It's like so funny. It's so bad it's funny. And it's like, okay, it's like it's goofy but it's trying to be serious, but also it comes off as so goofy. This is not that at all. This is like trying to be serious. And the tone is much different in this game. There's like no lightheartedness, no weird localization. As far as you can tell, like in Portrait of Ruin, Jonathan always says "no problemo" in the script. I'm like, who would say this? In like,
a Terminator 2 fan.
In 19, like whatever, like it's like World War II. It's he plays during like World War II or something. Like you would not say "no problemo" in like World War II era. I was like, what?
Was there anything in these games that you want modern Metroidvanias to do?
So one thing that was interesting was the different power. So I'll give credit to Order of Ecclesia's like power ups, not the glyphs, not the offensive stuff, but the things to like. One of them was like walk through walls in certain spots. Fun. I'm like, oh, you're just gonna literally walk through a wall, but when you're in the wall, you can actually traverse like underground or through walls as long as you are in that material. So if you're in stone, you can stay in that stone and go all the way on that screen. I'm like, oh wait, you can explore other parts. I was like, that's so cool. This is kind of an interesting mechanic. I was like, maybe they could do something a little bit more with this. But you get that so late that that's what I think that some of the reviewers are saying. Like there are parts of previous stages you cannot access, but it's like you get that power up and it's like, you can't even remember how long ago it was. Like, oh wait, where was that again? I was like, because it's not like a Metroidvania where everything's connected. I don't think you're naturally going backtracking through that area as much. So you like do that level, move on, don't see it for like hours. And you're like, wait, what was that again? So that was a problem with it. But like, another one is like you could like have a wing. So every one you get like that uppercut ability that like you've had like, so I forget which is the first one to do it in. But this one, to like go higher, you obviously get a double jump. You can turn to you get like bat wings. You can like fly. But the cool thing about with combat is it's like easier to keep facing your opponent while moving backwards and firing. And I was like, oh, that's kind of like sick. Like you can, because usually when you're attacking, unless you're jumping, you can't like back up. You can like back dodge, or you could stop attacking and back up, but like on the ground or when you're jumping, you have to have like momentum. This was like kind of nice to like slowly inch back, but also bosses don't let you cheese it. For example, one of the last bosses, I'm just gonna fly over your attacks, does a different attack if you try and fly over it. Just does this wall of attacks that knocks you out of the air. It's like, get wrecked.
All right, let's get to Huber's question, because I'm curious about this too. There's also the Haunted Castle arcade game and Haunted Castle Revisited, and I don't know anything about these, but just from what I heard online,
it looks like Super 4.
Is Haunted Castle is bad, but Revisited is good.
Oh, these are the extras. I must not have.
Have you not jumped into them at all?
No. Let me go to
sick as
end game. I have
Looks
it right
really
in front of me. Oh, yeah. Haunted Castle JP, Haunted Castle Revisited. Oh, yeah, these are in the extras. I didn't even do these yet. I just beat Order of Ecclesia like yesterday. So, okay. And I unlocked something called Albus mode. He's one of the other main characters. He's actually more interesting to play. His mechanics. He's got like a gun, a pistol, and these other abilities. So anyway, I'm playing through Order of Ecclesia as that character now. And then I was gonna go through like I guess I didn't go to the extra screen since I launched it, because I did see this. I just thought this was like Japanese versions of Castlevania 4 or something. I wasn't looking too closely. Sure. Yeah, this is wild.
Yeah, it's
Dang.
an arcade game and then like a remake.
Looks
of that
dope.
arcade
Looks-
game.
That's just cool to have them on there, man. That's like what I was spoke to at the beginning. I would say like that's more of the praise for the collection, like how many features you have and how many extras.
Yeah.
Like that makes it alone like worth it for that type of stuff. And in my opinion, two freaking amazing games, like almost up there with Symphony of Night. In my opinion, for Metroidvania style. And then like I guess Ecclesia is like something to try because it is the most unique Castlevania I've ever played. It just did not really speak to me. I was kind of a little turned off by it, but maybe other people, it seems like other people really love it though. Yeah.
Nice. Isla,
Hey.
you've been playing a game that I don't know a lot about, but caught
Nobody
our eye a
does.
couple weeks ago. Hollowbody.
Yeah. Do you like survival horror? Do you like mostly fixed cameras? Do you
Nice.
like Silent Hill 2? Like basically exactly, but cyberpunk?
Nice.
Then you will like Hollowbody. I haven't finished it yet, even though I think it's pretty short, you said. Yeah, it's good. I don't know. It's good. You kind of... It's Silent Hill 2. It's good. It's a good game so far. You have to, go around. It starts
There's a pillow
in an
monster in
apartment
that shot.
building.
Have you seen the pillow monster or whatever that was?
Yeah, it was. It's a thing. It's a whole thing. But yeah, there's some kind of like city that had an outbreak of some kind, and it was completely like walled off and left to like rot, basically. I think they might have even like bombarded it, But yeah, there's combat, there's puzzle solving, there's exploration. It's creepy, it's weird. It's Silent Hill 2. And it's cool and it's good.
How's the inventory management?
Good. It's I don't know if you're limited. Like Silent Hill 2, I don't think you ever get you don't ever get capped, But you definitely have to like go and get the right items. You need to have the stuff. And hard saves, like it does autosave sometimes, but like be sure you're hard saving because combat is pretty unforgiving. I'm playing on like normal, whatever, like the intended difficulty setting was, but like
Encouraged to run away.
yeah, like you're not great at combat. I was trying not to use my gun, because just years of training have told me like use the board with the nail in it. Like
Yeah. Use the board, Moira.
use the board. Yeah. Long fade out on this trailer. Yeah, but you get hit like 2 or 3 times and you're done.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, definitely be saving if you've made progress. Go back and save because I got punched like 3 times and I thought I could tank it and then I died and I had to do most of this apartment building over, which is my own fault. But it's cool. Yeah, the vibes are creepy. I really dig it.
One thing I liked that I saw in the trailer is it looks like when you shoot a gun that like there's like the flash lights up the whole room. So
Yeah, the lighting is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know the specifics of how they programmed it or whatever, but everything looks like it's, being rendered in real time. Like, it's not, I don't think, pre-rendered anything in the backgrounds or anything. So, like, your lighting and everything, just like, yeah, the interplay of lighting is really good. And a lot of rooms have, like, a lamp that flickers, and it, like, it'll change the way the whole room looks when it flickers on for a second. So, yeah, there's a lot of, like, lighting interplay stuff. It's an interesting kind of a vibe, this game, because I was playing it on the plane on my Steam Deck, and smaller screen, but I couldn't tell like the graphical style is interesting because it's like sort of retro, but not like PS1 retro, which is an interesting kind of vibe. It just I don't know. It felt immediately like old school survival horror games. So yeah, if you liked Signalis or any of that kind of stuff, like Hollowbody is your jam. Check it out. Probably out now, I guess.
Yeah, it's out now.
Yeah,
How's the music?
Hollowbody, dude.
Yeah, I'm curious about that because if it's a little bit more cyberpunk flavor, whether the music reflects that.
From memory, I don't remember it specifically. I haven't played it in a few days.
Right.
But I mean, I remembered enjoying it, and I remember there was like a smile on my face just from the vibes, and music is usually a part of that. So, yeah, like the characters and the vibes, like it starts with this weird vignette of like researchers on a beach, and then this girl goes to look for a missing person in a cave, and then it cuts to the person you play as. You play as that girl for that part, and then it cuts to this main girl, and she's like gonna go looking for that girl.
Nice.
And so, yeah, the story setup is interesting, and there's kind of that personal hook. And like the save points are phones, and sometimes the phone will ring, and you get a real creepy phone call.
Ooh.
Classic.
It's neat. Yeah, dude, this game is sick. I don't know. Like, if you like this kind of stuff, you know, obviously I haven't completely finished it yet, so like, I don't know, might take a nosedive at the end, but I've really enjoyed it so far.
Dope.
Nice.
Put it on my list, Isla.
Mm-hmm. We've got more to come, but if you've been enjoying the show so far, please take a second to like and subscribe and ring that bell on YouTube. Share it with some friends. Leave a podcast review, all that good stuff. It helps us, and it helps you stay connected. And now, a word from our sponsor.
When you think about your favorite companies online, you know, you think about obviously their product and their marketing and their website and all that kind of stuff. But like, do you ever think about how important it is that it's easy to actually buy the stuff? Like you're online at Cotopaxi or Allbirds or something, both of which I use and have ordered online before. And the experience was very low friction, very good in actually clicking buy and making that purchase happen online. That's the business that's helping that business run. That's Shopify, baby. Nobody does selling online better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet, and the not-so-secret secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned, and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Cotopaxi and Allbirds and a bunch of other companies use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/allies. All lowercase. That's shopify.com/allies. Go to shopify.com/allies to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/allies.
And if you are a patron of AZ Allies, thank you. Uh-oh. Somebody swapped out with Huber.
Yeah.
Oh, Don, you and I have been playing Yars Rising.
Yes.
From WayForward, which
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
a confounding prospect when they first introduced it. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, you're taking this old school Atari 2600 shooter.
Not old school, archaic. I think it would be the proper
True.
World.
And making a Metroidvania out of it. But it's actually been really cool. I played it for 2-3 hours, something like that. You've been playing a little bit more since then.
Yep.
And yeah, like it's got good vibes. Like one of the things that like I was a little, it is a little talky. There are times when it gets a little talky, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
But being able to now see it from the start, like I'm actually cool with it. Like I like her as a character, and I think that these comic book scenes that they did, which they told me is actually like reminiscent of the original game, came with the comic book, which I didn't know because I did not have Atari 2600 games from a box. I got them from a garage sale.
Yeah.
So it's really cool how much like love that they have for this franchise. And yeah, you got a lot of Metroidvania stuff, and then you're a hacker, and when you hack into computers, they are mini games based on the original Atari game, and it's so cool.
Yeah, it's like you said, just this bizarre hybrid that they've come up with, but it's really, really working. The story isn't bugging me as much as I thought it would, Blood. Yeah, it's sort of like teenage hacker stuff, you know, whatever, a group of kids.
Take down the evil corporation.
Yeah, take down the corpo. So I thought it'd be kind of obnoxious.
And then the corporation is more evil than even anyone thought.
Yeah, but it's
even
actually
people that work there.
It's not rubbing me the wrong way in any way. I'm kind of enjoying the story. Okay, you know, it's not that irritating at all or anything. It's kind of fine. But Yeah, like the prospect of what the game is, this hybrid thing, Yars, like you said, just to describe what this game was, it was just bizarre. It's one of these games from so far back in the day that you're like, it was still one of these games where you're like, oh, okay, they just figured out how to do this like programming technique. So they're like, make that part of the game. And then they just figured out this. So they said, make that part of the game. It's just a weird, but in fact, the game is actually super fun, the old one. Now, Damiani knows, okay, I have access to a private arcade in the San Fernando Valley, and I had to reach out to get in for this so I could get some context for what the original Yars was. Because did they include it in the Atari 50? I don't remember. I think it might have been
I think it is.
Yeah, but it was an arcade game, I guess, way back in the day. So I got access at this private arcade to the original Yars, and I played some on the cabinet. And it's just, this like bizarre top-down sort of game where you're this bug or fly or something. Like sometimes you would like eat these you're basically trying to destroy this little enemy thing on each stage. Yeah. And in order to do that, you need to like eat away their protective barrier and especially like time out your, we'll see some of it in a little bit here.
Yeah, basically it's weird because like I think as a kid I never understood the mechanics. It's like, oh, now I actually understand how this works.
Here it is. Whoops. So this is actually like what the original Yars kind of looks like.
Yeah, so it's like you have to like nibble a little bit to fill up a meter and like summon your big cannon shot.
Yeah.
But you also have like to break through the wall. It's kind of like a breakout or Arkanoid kind of thing. And then once the wall is clear and it's a clear shot to get to your enemy, then you can fire the cannon and kill the enemy.
There it is, yeah.
And then there's also that weird little like force field where you're safe from the smaller shots.
Static zone.
And you also have to get in there to summon the beam.
Yeah, and each stage has different mechanics, as you can see here. Now it's like, they slightly mix it up. It's like there's familiar things, but they're constantly kind of rotating. So each level isn't just like a harder version of the same thing. It's like each time you have to be like, now what am I doing here? Now what are the parameters here? And so this mini hacking game, which what you're seeing here, every time she gets to a computer terminal, like you're saying, she has to start hacking. Then it goes into like Yars Revenge. That was the name of the first game, the sequel, right? So this would be sort of like a true sequel to Yars. It's a really successful sequel, just the hacking mini games I'm talking about. As a standalone thing, it's like a very satisfying gameplay-wise sequel to this game that's like whatever, 40 or 50, I don't know how old it is. It's like literally 30 or 40 years old. It was like the late 70s. I think it's late 70s.
1982?
Oh, 82? Okay, I thought it might have been 79. Yeah, so like way back in the day. Anyway, extremely satisfying and faithful sequel is what it ends up having. But then they encapsulate that sequel within, like you said, this whole Metroidvania, which that was the part I was so nervous about going into it when we had seen the trailers and everything. I was just like not feeling that look of the Metroidvania. And that's the thing that's impressed me the most, actually. It's been like super satisfying to play. I don't know.
Yeah, and so
does it play well? The Metroidvania part looks a little stiff.
It looks so simplistic and stiff in the trailer and really just easy and kind of like almost generic. But actually, when you get into it, it's a little bit of a slow crawl up, right? Earning some of your initial powers.
Yeah, because you start off and like she can walk and she can jump and she can crawl. Like,
that's it, yeah.
That's it. But when you do these hacks...
I love how this menu looks, by the way, real quick while it's up.
This where you get your power, you can kind of like Tetris.
Yeah, so these are like little augments that you get, and then you got to slot them in there.
This is really early game. Obviously, you get a ton of those augments, so it really gets like you have to really decide at some point what to fit in where and all that stuff.
But yeah, each one of those little hacking terminals that you do, some of them will just open doors in an area or whatever, but a lot of those give you your powers because basically you're hacking into her, like, it hacks into her DNA in a way.
Biohacks.
Yeah. And so first thing you get is you get just a basic blaster, and then eventually, like, you get the missiles, and then, like, right before this boss fight, you get the grasshopper legs that allow you to wall jump.
Yep.
And so there's lots of little powers like that. And then, this is a great boss fight that you get really early on where you got to hit the missiles to take the webbing off, and then you can hit her with the regular shots.
Yes. So it's a slow build up a little bit, and you're inside, like you said, you're underground inside the sort of giant corporate facility. It begins as a simple hack job that gets more and more complex, and you get more sort of entrapped in the situation. But the Metroidvania, just the layout, design, the the satisfactory loop you kind of get on. I think it's an effective and pretty good Metroidvania, actually, and especially in a time when we're just like a million Metroidvanias to choose from. It's simple and satisfying, and as soon as you power up and get to a certain point, I think the scope of it is a lot bigger than what I expected, which is also like a satisfying surprise. I thought it was all going to be self-contained in this facility, but it actually goes beyond that. You know?
And the thing you saw earlier with the blocks slotting in, those are just like little like passive upgrades and stuff. So it's like a little bit more health, or there's one that's cute where it's like it'll show the names of the songs on screen when the new song starts playing.
Which, talk a little bit about the music, Blood. What did you think? I'm impressed with the music,
It was
too.
one of the first things that I was like immediately in was the music, especially like some of the vocals tracks. It's definitely got a very there's some vaporwave stuff in there, so it's got some Paradise Killer vibes. There's one that is there's some stuff that's like kind of reminds me of Perfume, if you know that band. It's a Japanese band. And there's one in there that like was maybe a little too close to Streets of Rage. I'm like, this this riff here, this is just Streets of Rage right now. But we both have been listening to that soundtrack. They put the full soundtrack on YouTube as well.
It's very nice.
And I had that on doing some work.
And these little Yars mini games are way more addictive than maybe you can communicate by just watching them. They actually are really satisfying.
You definitely get in there. It's definitely harder than you think they would be.
You got to run them again a lot. Some of them,
And
I like her face when she's doing the hacking games. She looks like proud, and she's really concentrating if it's not going well. It's fun.
And when she messes up, she does this great like one-eyed wince. Actually, that I really like. I don't know if we'll get it in this footage, but she does a really like great expression when she screws up. She's a great character. I love the main character a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Emmy, right? Mm-hmm. Which always makes me think of the friggin' monster in
and Yars. They made Yars to be her hacker name. That's her hacker handle.
So they tie it all in, and she's getting these cool like Yars, like digitized bug tattoos appear on her, right?
Well, she has a tattoo, that looks like the original Yars chip, but I don't know if I want to spoil why she has that too.
Yeah.
But
So just, the main thing about this, I think it's a great thing, Blood, because Atari, one of these pillars of gaming, OG gaming from back in the day, but over the years, over the decades, there's no question that they sort of like got a really bad reputation because they just sold off so many of their old licenses, or they licensed out so many, like in a cheap kind of way. Where it's
they basically went under and got bought multiple times, essentially. But
not only that, but just the rights. The way they've handled even the IP that they've held on to. It's like there hasn't been a single Christmas that I haven't walked into a store and seen like 10 different weird, cheap emulator Atari type situations, that kind of thing. Right. So they've lost so much cred, I think, in terms of like the quality of the games and everything. And now, these last couple of years...
the new Atari.
Starting with the Atari 50 collection, these different developers they're finding to work on the projects, Berserk Recharged, Lunar Lander Beyond,
Mm-hmm.
and now this, I think, is sort of like the highest point they've reached so far in terms of like taking these ancient, simple game IPs that they own and not just like delivering sort of satisfying sequels decades later, but then just like building this whole new thing around them that they're being successful with. I think it's like you can tell there's love, and it's not just like, and they're pulling it off. I mean, Yars Rising, I think, is so far their best effort in this like new era of Atari or whatever. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and another thing, when you complete one of those hacks and that mini game, then back out on the main menu. You can access those. You can replay those separately and go for higher scores and stuff.
Yeah, essential. Really nice that they did
There's
that.
also one that's, I think, only there that is like a little bit more closely based to the original game, but it's like there's like a series of challenges to try to get through in a row.
That's awesome.
That's not one of the hacks.
Yeah, that's really cool. Amazing thing. So satisfying. I'm happy with it.
Good vibes.
Yeah, definitely recommend it to anyone that's interested in a fun little Metroidvania. It's like amazing that they pulled it off. I mean, I didn't expect a lot, and it's just like blown me away.
Sick. Thanks, Don.
Sweet. Thank you.
He's back.
Back in action.
Back.
All right. Yeah, thanks to Don for that. Huber's back. And now we got one more for Damiani, which I'm curious about. Came out a few weeks back, but things got busy and crazy. But Mika and the Witch's Mountain. You've got just a little time in now.
Yeah, it just definitely looks like a PS2 era game. A little bit of like that vibes. It's Kiki's delivery service premise meets like the Wind Waker in terms of like visual style, and that you're on like an island here. You're on this island. It's like a decently sized island. It's like it's seamless, but like it's nowhere near the size like of a big open world. It's like, okay size. And I'm pretty sure that it's only this island. I don't think you go anywhere else. But you're a fledgling witch who is going off to Witch Academy, basically, to study to become a proper witch. And you kind of arrive, and your teacher's kind of like, guess what? I'm going to kick you off the edge of the mountain.
It's a frog chair.
Witches and frogs.
Oh, true.
Sorry, Damiani.
I thought you said dog, and I'm like, what? And I was like, where? Anyway, you end up at the bottom of the mountain, basically, on this island, and a nice villager takes you in, your broom breaks, and she's like, oh, I can repair it for you, but like you're gonna have to get a job. And so you go into the nearby village, and it has a whole postal system, everything. They're like, yeah, our last delivery person went missing, so you can step in and fill the role. And basically, you're delivering packages using your ability to fly on a broom to different villagers scattered across this island. And as you can kind of see from some of the footage, like you can walk on foot, you can walk up to some NPCs and have conversations with them. Some of those have like text bubbles that will appear, and then some of them will ask you to deliver a package, and it'll be tracked as a quest in your quest menu. And packages have like a life meter, like a durability, and usually some conditions. The first one's pretty basic, but eventually you get ones like where they can't get wet, so you can't hit the water, or some that like have a time limit on them as well, so you also have to get there really quickly. But like they also have like Zelda hearts under them, so like each time like you ram something too hard or fail a condition, it will like take away a heart. Or for ones that have like a timed limit, it'll have like a meter that's like just decreasing until it depletes and you fail. If you fail, you just hold down like a button to reset the package. It'll go back to the starting NPC. You'll have to fly back there. You can pick it up again. So I kind of wish there was like a default like quick return back to the NPC when you fail a delivery. But because some of them can get kind of long in terms of distance you have to go as you get further, but otherwise, it's not that big of it's not a really terrible issue. It's just like a minor hiccup. But there's a lot of like obstacles to, I'm gonna say overcome, but like just interact with as you're going across the island. They're like these thermal vents, like think pilot wings that, can like lift you up higher when you're on your broom or like shoot you faster. Now, the vertical ones are great because they give you height and you can reach, higher areas more easily. And the ones that thrust you forward are great when you're just trying to get back to someplace. But when you're carrying a package, those things could be a menace because they can hurl you so fast that like you'll just you got to be careful. You're going to run into a wall full speed and you're going to take that damage to your package. And if you don't deliver it in good condition, you don't get a good rating. You get rated on your packages. There's like red, which is you failed and you have to do it over anyway. There's like yellow, which is like default. Not great, but not good. And then green, which is good, you got to get green stamps. Green stamps the only way you get paid. You got to get that money. You got to get those coins so you could pay the lady who's fixing your broom. And then you could buy new brooms from her too. And, I think there's like 4 over the course of the game. It's not a very long game from what I understand. I didn't finish it, but most things I read said it's about like a 6-hour game tops. So it's pretty short. So if you're looking for something that's, kind of like bite-sized, even though it looks like a big open world game, the island's not really that big. The island looks pretty varied too. Like you have like the nice cozy town vibes. with like windmills. Then you go to another side, it's like way more industrialized with like trains and warehouses and soot covered areas. Like, oh dang. And like it gets like dark. It's like Dark Side of the Moon at one point with this like manor. I'm like, this dude who wants you to like he wants to deliver electric bills to everyone all over the island to pay their dues. Like this guy's the
character.
I was like, this is the villain right here. And like but like the NPCs are pretty jolly. It's like a good vibes game, honestly. Like the music when it kicks in is very nice and complements like this, the sense of wonder when you're flying. It does kind of abrupt transitions every now and then. Like this is a small game, so like don't expect that level of production value. So there are some small minor like, bumps in the road like that. I'm playing it on Switch, so there's also a few like performance hiccups here and there, especially when you're flying at a great speed. But like each of the different areas, like there's like a signpost you can go up to, a bulletin board that will name the area and like show you like collectibles and things you can do in that area. So there are extracurricular activities, but I haven't found like any like actual side quests from PCs. They've all been like, you need to deliver these, and when you've accomplished all your deliveries for a day, you turn in for a day and you advance to the next day and you get your and that advances the story.
Got it.
So it's pretty simple. And honestly, yeah, there's walking controls, there's the pick up the package, and there's the like broom control, which kind of like launches you a little bit into the air. But I only have the second broom right now. And because there's all these thermal vents, I don't know if one gives you manual control for like accelerating into the air, like decreasing and increasing your height. I think you do have to rely on these thermal vents unless like the third or later broom gives you some kind of like boost that I don't know about. And then, like I said, there's some more obstacle course like challenges, like flying through ring like shaped structures with like going with the jet stream stuff. And kind of like an obstacle course fashion for some of these packages, because if you don't fly in that direct route, you probably won't make it in time. So like the first few the earlier missions, more relaxed, very easy going, but they quickly start to like ramp up, and like distances you have to travel. It's like you have to kind of like, you can kind of wing it, but like, and it's pretty simple, so like you can just wing it. But I mean, if you're looking to like optimize, like you might want to go over to that side of the island, and like there's verticality to the island too. So like the closer you go to the middle, it's like going up the mountain, like you go up higher and higher, and there's a lot more tucked away in there than I originally thought. So the only thing is like you can't really go indoors from what I understand. So all these nice buildings you come across, they have like entrances, you don't go in them at all. Like, yeah. So it's like just the exterior environment. And again, it just looks like a giant Wind Waker themed island visually. And yeah, it's simple and fun, and it's short.
Simple and clean.
Yeah. If you're looking for something like, kind of, tranquil, and kind of like, I will say this, I was holding back the one negative thing. I don't think the flight controls are the best. I think they're intentionally that way, especially the first broom, because you're flying on a broken broom, so it's a little rough. But like sometimes you need to like land, and you're just like, okay, momentum. Like, I just dismount am I too high? Is I gonna count as damage? It's very loose handling when you're flying, so I could see, but it feels like the environment is designed in a way to accommodate that. So there's this one thing in the beginning that was a little frustrating. You have to like land on this dumb boat in the water, and I was like, this is so frustrating. It was so frustrating. You can't really do I couldn't really make it top down view. I could get a little close.
No, I mean Top Gun landing on that aircraft carrier in the water.
Yeah. Frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I really haven't encountered anything similar to that. It's been very generous since then. So it was like that was probably the low point for me. But it was kind of a bummer because it was so early on. I was like, oh no, is this setting the tone for the game? And thankfully it really didn't. So yeah, fun writing. It's like very simple, like, the characters, charming characters. There's a little bit of like a story to some of them. You get to know them as you do the delivery quests for them. Yeah, it's just fun, quirky vibes. I mean, just kind of a delight to play. And
seems like it's fun to just fly around and explore this little cozy spot.
It's something that the outfits. I was like, I'm forgetting something. You unlock new outfits. And outfits are kind of cool. Like first one, he gets like a delivery outfit. But I mean, if you go to the Steam page, they show you like pretty much all the outfits you can get. So Fashion's always like the true end game, and that's what you're working towards. You're unlocking new brooms and new outfits for you. So yeah. And yeah, there's like a nice journal in the menu that like tracks all of the characters, locations. It's vibrant colors. I like the aesthetic to it. So yeah, if you're looking for a jolly, cozy game, good vibes, good aesthetics, this is, you know, I'm not sure what else. I forget the developer, what else they have done. Because their Steam page keeps
Chibig,
bundling
right?
it with other stuff. With what?
Chibig is the name of the developer?
It's what it's saying here, yeah. It's by the Chibig Universe Games. Mika, Mara, Koa, Dayland, and I wow. I didn't know there's a multiverse for this or something. So yeah, this is not their first entry, but yeah, fun. Yeah, and like, I don't know if you have any other questions. And again, like, it's physics-based gameplay when you're flying. So like,
Right.
yeah, you're gonna have to like, you know, learn those controls a little bit, but they click pretty quickly, in my opinion.
Damiani, I want to know, at any point did you play The Offspring while doing a delivery?
No, because
Taxis only,
it
bro.
doesn't
Taxis
have
only.
that. It doesn't have that vibe at all. It does not have that vibe at all. Honestly,
Okay.
like it's very like it's not heavy
Yeah, it's
story,
more chill.
but it's so story driven. Like the characters, you talk to the characters. They have these nice silhouettes. It's touching. Like one's like a mom wants to deliver a letter to her son who's going to leave on a train to leave the island. And you go over there and you deliver it to him, and he's like, I'm so worried about my mom, like leaving her behind, but also like, what she wants from me is not what's best for me. You know, I want like a different life and stuff. You know, she wants me to go off to school and all this stuff, but like, I'm happy just being here. I wish she could understand. So like, he can't say that to her face. So you suggest write a letter. So he writes a letter and you bring it back to the mom, and you have like, you know, you kind of like share those thoughts with the mom, and you have like that reaction moment. So it's kind of like that. It's bonds. It's like you're helping character bonds. So like one character, like, one's a father who's a painter, but like his two kids kind of cause a lot of trouble. And they're a little bit of, you know, little spoiled brats a little bit at the beginning, but like as you do more with them, they kind of learn to like, you know, appreciate things a little bit more. So not quite like Majora's Mask-esque where you're like fixing everyone and stuff and like solving everyone's like problems, but like you're definitely getting characters to know each other a little bit better and like, you know, helping out with that. So it's like a nice, you know, heartfelt narrative like that.
Nice.
Chill.
Nice.
You're going too fast. Speed up.
There's no cat, no talking cat that I saw. So, but everyone's like Kiki. I'm like, yeah, you don't have Gigi. You don't have like a talking cat with you. So,
No talking cats.
no.
Got it. Nice. Thank you, Damiani. Also this week, I was hoping we could avoid them, but we got some. God. Layoffs
Rude.
from Xbox again.
Oh my God.
This is the thing. Huber, both the layoff stories this week, repeats. They're like, you already did layoffs. Now we got more layoffs. According to a memo from Phil Spencer that was published by The Verge, Xbox is laying off another 650 staff
So many.
after already doing 1,900
That
staff.
is so many.
Mostly in corporate and support roles, and they were just like, oh yeah, this is just a result of the merger with Activision.
The economic headwinds, of course.
No, it's just because they bought Activision, and well, we got these people, we got two people in the same job. We don't need both of them. So.
Redundancies.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep. Basically, what it comes down to. Here's the thing that like is a little. This feels so dirty to me. Like Phil Spencer is like trying to soften the blow by saying, no games, devices, or experiences are being canceled, and no studios are being closed as part of the layoffs today.
Just people.
Just 650
Just lives.
people.
Product is okay, but the lives are fucked.
Maybe you should have kept somebody to answer those emails, though.
Heyo. Heyo.
Zing.
The other one is Lost Boys Interactive. A lot of people probably don't know them by name. They're a support studio, so kind of like those hidden champions.
Yeah.
They've worked on Tiny Tina Wonderlands, PUBG, Diablo 4, etc. They had already had layoffs in January, and they lost more people this week. The report is pretty rough. It sounds like 139 people, but they were only like a 200-something person team. So a pretty big reduction there. In sort of, I don't know, but good news or expected news or something. I don't know. Unity. Do you remember this thing last year?
Of course.
Unity announced this
Unity, yeah.
ridiculous
Totally
plan.
crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because this was one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen.
Yeah, they were
Like-
they were going to charge developers for every time a game was installed, they would get a cut. They were going to take a
Insane.
royalty off of every installation, and then people were like, "Well, what if somebody installs on the same game on multiple devices, or what if somebody, has a gift from a Humble Bundle or whatever?" And like, there are all these things that like weren't thought through,
Yeah.
and gigantic backlash.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like racing to like go to other engines because they're like, all right, I don't want to deal with Unity. And so they had to sort of walk it back, but they didn't fully walk it back. They just kind of like walked back like for the people who were using like the free version. And eventually, the CEO, John Riccatello, had to leave. They ended up having a bunch of layoffs on their side as well. And now the new CEO is like, yeah, we're getting rid of all that. We're going back to just a normal subscription.
Jeez.
They are raising the prices on the subscription, by the way.
But they're also
Of course.
but they're also adjusting the caps.
Yes. So the caps meaning for how much money you could make on the free version. So the cap is going up. So it used to be like $100,000 or whatever, and now it's $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are other for like the Pro to Enterprise. But it's just so weird. It's such a weird whole
Yeah.
full circle. It's like, oh yeah, you do the thing that you should have done to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, really bad idea that they are probably never going to live down
Yeah.
fully. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yes.
Let's laugh.
Roll this,
Oh, yeah.
Isla. Do you remember Metamorphosis? I know Isla remembers.
I
Is that
remember the
Dark
motion
Metamorphosis.
Is that the Kafka book?
Yes,
It's a Kafka
It
book.
is the Kafka
Of
book.
course.
And there was a game that came out in 2020 that Isla did a video of
And I got so motion sick.
where you get turned into a bug and you play as the game where you get turned into a bug.
I liked
VR?
it. I liked
And
it.
now
Bugs kind of freak me out.
another company has decided, hey, we're going to make a VR version of that game.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
It's like on the one hand it's totally genius, and on the other hand it's such a nightmare.
Yeah.
Already getting sick.
Because it's first person.
Oh
See
no. Oh no.
Yeah.
See his little bug legs?
Yeah, that freaks me out.
I mean, the real Gregor experience, though. Goddamn.
Yeah.
This adaptation is going to be the first title from Black Sun Productions.
Black hole.
Right, exactly. One check.
It is set in 1900s
Be a
Vienna.
bug.
Players assume the role of Gregor, traveling salesman who, after a night on the town, finds himself transformed into a cockroach.
Whose fetish is this? Who wanted this?
Oh no.
Getting eaten on a sandwich, dude? No.
So you've got
No.
to seek a way to save your closest friend and regain your humanity.
No. No.
Halloween game here out
No,
October 10th
no.
on MetaQuest 2 and
No.
3.
No. Are we
Shout out
skipping
to
that?
Franz Kafka, though. Good stuff.
Are we skipping it? That's a skip for me, not because of quality, just because of I'm repulsed.
Naked lunch for sure.
I don't think we brought this up before, but we can put this trailer on too. Last Ninja they did a Kickstarter they're doing a collection of these classic games.
Dope.
It was fully funded. I think they said in like 40 minutes.
Heck yeah.
So,
Jeez Louise.
and if you're not familiar with this series, it was the original Last Ninja was released on Commodore 64 in 1987.
Crazy.
Okay.
It was a isometric
Damiani's favorite.
ninja action game. I was so confused as a kid trying to understand this game. Don's played it too. He thinks he played it on like an Apple II or something. And then they had a couple sequels. And this collection has all the Last Ninja games, as well as Ninja Remix, Bangkok Nights, International Karate, and International Karate Plus.
Dope.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. When the Virtual Console had that brief stint of Commodore 64 games, The Last Ninja came to that as well.
I love the gameplay of Last Ninja. Just this ninja, like, casually walking in the bright middle of the day, just like, hello. When, like, usually ninjas.
He's a very good ninja.
Like, no joke. Like, this was like award-winning Game of the Year material.
Crazy.
For a lot of the PC mags when Last
awesome.
Ninja came out.
Talking about graphics, look how far we've come, dude. Graphics matter, though. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that evolution since then.
That Kickstarter's still going. If you want to throw some extra cash in there, go until October 10th before they finish that. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
Love this. Keep them coming. Keep these throwbacks coming.
Yeah. Well, we got a
Preservation.
throwback, and I don't know if we need it. Carmen Sandiego is
Hell
back.
yeah,
Hubert.
dude. Play this in elementary school, of course.
Wait,
Yeah.
Oh, this is a new one, though.
But this
what
a
is
new one.
this?
Oh.
And this is very weird, Huber. So Carmen Sandiego's back, but it's coming from Gameloft,
Okay.
Oh,
and it definitely.
I know that
Yeah,
screen. I know that screen.
It looks kind of like a phone game that's been put onto consoles for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the weirdest part, you actually now for the first time play as Carmen
as.
Sandiego. But even though they still describe her as a master thief or whatever,
Yeah, you're not stealing anything.
you're taking down the agents of Vile, the organization.
So you're a phantom thief.
But that's the organization that she started. Like I know that
it's like
missed,
Perfect Dark, dude. Let's
What's
go.
going on
It's a
here?
reimagining.
Yeah, this is sick.
but like
It went
Carmen
against her
Sandiego.
original vision, and she has to take it down.
Yeah,
That's right.
Top 10 anti-heroes, dude. Let's
I created
go.
you.
Punished
I must
Carmen.
destroy you.
Yeah.
it just seems like she's joined the good guys now. She's just
turned
like
State's
Yeah,
evidence.
she flipped.
Very-
She's an informant.
Yeah. That is very trendy, though, making all the villains
Gumshoe
like,
busted her.
heroes and relatable these days. Definitely.
yeah, it's just like a weird thing. It's like okay, we know Carmen is the bad guy, but Carmen is the face of this franchise, so we got to make her attractive. Like I don't.
Oh, she's always been attractive.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yeah, we got to make her sympathetic, I suppose.
yeah, I know.
And they've also added like a lot of this like action and adventure stuff. So you've got like gadgets, you got a little grappling hook, you got a glider,
Yeah.
but it just feels weird. It feels weird. And I was reading,
But it feels right.
I was reading up on the wiki and stuff to like remind myself because it's like, wait, this doesn't add up to me, right? And then one of the things they were saying in there was that like basically the other Vile agents were just like decoys for her anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Like she would have
Using them for her own gains.
Yeah, she would have the authorities distracted by what one of the other agents was doing, so then she could go pull off the real heist.
Definitely.
It's
Where can I stream the show?
I don't know.
Where is it? I'm watching it tonight.
I don't know.
Carmen Sandiego tonight.
My friend's dad made that show.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, the acapella
Oh,
one.
Shit.
Nice.
Pretty sure, yeah.
That is nuts.
It's weird.
I'm in.
We're gonna get weirder, Huber, because this industry now is all about team ups and collabs and who's gonna be in Fortnite.
Thanks, Fortnite.
Do you know what the latest crossover is? Do you read the news channel this week?
I'm seeing it right now.
It's
What
Genshin
the
Impact
hell?
at McDonald's.
What?
Damiani's in,
McDonald's?
dude. Food and games colliding, Damiani.
McDonald's too expensive, man.
So starting September 17th, you can get menu items only in the app. This is app exclusive.
Wait. Say that again?
You have app exclusive ordering for these items. They've been doing it with some sauces lately. Now we've got the
we're
Genshin
going.
Impact apple pie.
I'm in. I've always said Genshin Impact is the #1 game I want to play that I probably never will. This is tipping me over the edge.
Huber, you know what makes it a
I am
Genshin Impact
in.
apple pie?
Huh.
They just changed the box.
What? It's the same apple pie?
It's the same apple
Come
pie.
on. What?
Yeah, you had them, then you
I'm
lost
out,
them.
dude. I'm out.
But it also, though, Huber, it comes with 40 Prima Gems, 3
There you
exclusive
go.
golden apple pastries for the game, and a golden apple pastry recipe for the game.
Hey, man, I already got 14 milk tea from Gong Show, whatever.
There's also the Genshin Impact Deluxe McCrispy meal, which comes with the apple pie as well.
But just the same apple pie, right?
Yep. It's all
So
the same stuff.
is there any like new food?
The food is just
It's
the same
McDonald's. No.
Okay.
The sauce. Wait, is the sauce new or no?
I
are
don't
they doing
think
a
the
new
sauce
sauce?
is this.
Okay.
I don't think the sauce is Genshin Impact related. But the meal does include Wings of Delicacies glider.
In the game.
Yeah, you get a new glider.
New
skin.
glider, okay.
Yeah.
Delicacy.
And you get a name card, crispy and sweet.
Does it have the McDonald's logo
I don't know.
on the name card?
On the name card.
Oh, I see. Oh, there's like a
yeah.
McDonald's fry box.
Yeah, it looks like there's some
Okay.
McDonald's fries and burgers.
Hell
in
yeah.
there. Yeah. So crispy and sweet.
So silly.
Huber, where in the world is Carmen San Diego? Does not appear to be streaming officially on anything, but
YouTube.
some episodes do seem to be on YouTube.
Okay, dang it.
The food crossovers are not done yet
Oh,
because
jeez. No.
KFC is partnering with Funko Fusion to
No.
put Colonel Sanders
No.
into the game.
There's
There's a Funko Colonel Sanders
something.
with a minigun chicken bucket.
There's something
I
about.
support it, honestly.
Yes, Isla, thank you. There's something
It's
just
so
about
goofy.
It's so goofy. It just feels like it's not hurting anyone. Anytime there's like food crossovers in games, I just get a wholesome vibe. I don't know whether that's misguided or not. I'm cool.
Unless
cool
I
with
get
it.
a new food creation out of this, I'm personally offended.
It doesn't end there though.
More?
If you are a KFC Rewards member, there are exclusive skins for Mecha Colonel Sanders
Oh my god.
and Chef Colonel Sanders.
Oh my god.
Mecha Colonel Sanders is that's.
I don't even know what it looks like 'cause it's not in the trailer. I don't think.
Spoilers, dude. You gotta save it up.
Become a KFC Rewards member.
That is out of
Eating
control.
that chicken, I guess.
Better news. Multiverse's season 3 announcement.
Season 3 already.
They're getting the Powerpuff Girls. And
Cool.
Townsville as well. But the Powerpuff
Mojo
Girls,
Jojo.
the way they control looks really interesting because
Do you play as all of them at
you
once?
play as all of them at
I
once.
Love
They're
that
like
shit.
a little trio.
Very fun.
And so, yeah, like your different moves, like different ones come to the
Dude.
forefront. And like, yeah, one of them will have one attack, one of them will have another.
Cool.
And then this is a part of Powerpuff I've forgotten about or I didn't see all the episodes of, but there is an alternate skin for the Rowdy Rough boys.
Rowdy Rough Boys.
So you can play as them as well and then pit them up against each other if you're playing
All right.
multiplayer or whatever.
Pretty awesome.
So, yeah. It's a nice little
That's a
addition there.
great addition.
Yeah.
For this game, 100%. Very
And then
good.
later in the season, there's another Wonder Woman character or something. I forget.
Got it.
But yeah.
I know, Halloween right around the corner. What are we going to start seeing in these games?
Yeah.
Coming up.
And then 2 little platform updates. Xbox is bringing friend requests back.
I don't understand this. I thought
Yeah.
this was a bit. You couldn't you couldn't add a friend?
So I think it was on the Xbox One. At some point, they changed how friend requests work.
Got it.
So rather than you sending in a request and the other person accepting, you just would add somebody as a friend, and I would get a notification, but I didn't have to add you back.
Was it a
so it's
follow,
like a
though?
one-way friendship. It's separate from followers.
Oh, whoa.
It's like so you'd have people on your friends list,
One way.
but they might not have you on their friends list.
That's so awkward.
Yeah.
Dang, yeah, I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable about this.
Right. But they also have the following thing. So basically what they're saying is when this update goes into effect, friend requests are back like you would expect.
Got it.
And then if you have those one-way relationships, you'll just become a follower.
Got
They
it.
won't be on your friends list anymore.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then there are options too to where like you can set those things on and off to where like if you don't want anyone to be followers, you can turn that off. And,
Got it.
Yeah. And then
I have one question about this.
yeah, PlayStation is adding new
question.
OS update, including a welcome hub that you can put.
saw.
They got different like backgrounds and stuff, and then you can also put in different little widgets.
Yes.
For things like battery levels, console storage level, online friends, trophies, all that. Like just a little custom page for your home menu.
Bloodworth, I read the PS blog, and it said nothing. I need chat or someone to confirm. Can I make a freaking folder?
They said nothing about folders. I don't know. Probably not on this screen. I don't think it is. I think you can take a screenshot and make it your background, but they didn't say anything about folders. You can change the size of your widgets.
Can Mark Cerny tell me why? Mr. Cerny, why can I not make folders on my PlayStation?
Pro.
I like to have my evergreen games like Fortnite and stuff in a folder. I like to have my current queue that I'm playing for games that I need to play right now. And I like to have my backlog folder. Why? Why can I not do that?
You know my theory? This is a mean theory. It's because the games are so big and the hard drive is so small. So you don't need folders; they're all right there. You got Call of Duty, you got room for 4 more games.
Maybe.
You know.
Yeah.
Got Call of Duty and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Oh, you're getting a little tight.
I just really love like uniform folders. Like I love that, just that one little function. And it's always crazy when you have a function in a previous gen that they take away, you know? I mean, my PS4 was so laid out with folders and stuff. It was just so nice. Like for my brain to just keep track of everything instead of like, sometimes I'll have like a couple games installed and they'll like go off the home. It's just like, let me just have a little more control. So it's crazy that it was there and then now it's not. And I wonder like, what's the reason?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, you know, Switch, just like themes, black and white.
Yeah.
Like you had all of these themes that you were selling before on old systems.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. What is the deal?
Yeah, there's some other like smaller updates and stuff in there. Another one that I did find interesting is something called Party Share, to where now you can, like when you start a party voice chat, you can send a link to somebody now. And so they can join your voice chat even if they're like not on your friends list or something like that.
Yeah.
So like if you're playing with somebody in a game, but like sort of like we do, you know, like we just grab some mods or whatever, you don't necessarily have to add them to your friends list to be able to communicate with them.
Got it.
So, all right, it is time for Love and Respect. Love and Respect. From David Moss.
What up, David?
Hi, guys. No surprise that you'll be inundated with discussion posts about PlayStation 5 Pro this week.
Probing.
In the hope that I'm not repeating what's already been said, the last Sony console I bought was a full-price PS4 Pro for £349. 8 years later, a new PS5 Pro is £699. That's exactly double the cost for the same product idea, release date to release date. PS5 Pro does seem like a very niche product at this price point, and upgrades are seemingly becoming less and less worth it. But I wanted to try and understand why this might be the case before having a completely negative view. Here are a few questions or thoughts which you might be able to advise on better than my own research. So this is kind of a multi-part question.
Got it.
So first part, along with any inflation since the PS4 Pro and any material shortage, if that's still a thing, could it be that the level of tech required to make enough of a difference to be considered an upgrade is just this expensive now?
It's good theory. Like the Digital Foundry was saying that it's comparable to a 4070, which is like over $500 by itself.
Right.
That's what they said. So yeah, I mean, that definitely could be part of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe some parts have gone cheaper. I don't think GPUs have it all. They've definitely, the GPU market has definitely been, you're being taken for a ride there. Yeah, prices have gone up. There's not a lot of competition. NVIDIA's kind of king. AMD even announced they're like not going to make high-end cards anymore. They're just going for the mid to low-end cards.
Oh,
so
yeah, because they want to focus on it.
Maybe that will
Crazy.
put some competition. But like NVIDIA's got so much resources now. It's like insane. And like what is it? NVIDIA's, was it their CEO or someone from NVIDIA said like, we need to stop expecting price cuts like on stuff. Like, you know, that's like a bad mentality to have. Like it's like
bad mentality.
They literally say bad mentality, but like when a new generation of cards comes out, it shouldn't mean the old ones get cut. Price cuts.
It should mean
I mean, and you're seeing this reflected in all, like, a lot of technology and hardware. Like, look at the consoles; they're not getting price cuts.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like, and I think it's because, like, some of the parts, well, some parts, like, have gotten cheaper. I think the more crucial parts, like GPU, have not gotten cheaper and are only getting more expensive. So.
I mean, even the you were saying about the 2 terabyte Xbox. I mean, that's what, 600 for that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty old system.
Increase the size of the SSD, yeah.
For 6.
Yeah,
wild.
I think the things that make the chips for that stuff, it's just like they traditionally got cheaper over time in each generation, and now they're not. So the people who make them, it starts with the people who make them. They're just not doing the price cuts, whoever that are. Like they know the value of this stuff, and they're seeing they can do it and get away with it. So that definitely probably is factoring to why this, like, would have been higher if you're assuming, like, maybe they're just being a little greedy. I still think this wouldn't have been, like, proportionally the same price for a Pro generational refresh. I think it is always going to be a little bit more pricey.
Yeah. Well, and then I think the other thing too is just like we were talking about, like, just that state of diminishing returns. It's like it already looks so good. What are you going to do to actually make it look better? And it's like, kind of hard to say.
Like I said before the Pro was even announced, it's like it's such an impossible sell if it's not something as dramatic, because like you were saying with 4K for the PS4 Pro is huge. If it's not something as dramatic as like 30 frames on regular, 60 on Pro, like, what is the value then? Yeah. What is the value? Like, what is the point?
Well, yeah. And again, I don't know if Sony said this, but we definitely said this. Like, this, it's aimed at enthusiasts, and even with GPU, the enthusiast market for GPUs, like the high-end GPU. Do you really need a high-end GPU to play, like, the newest games? No, you don't need it to play the highest end games. Like, any current generation's GPU, you can buy the low-end one and it should be able to play the damn game. But if you want all the bells and whistles and want, like everyone says, how much more percentage of frames am I getting? Yep. That's like the PC meme. It's like this many $100 are going to buy you this many more frames. Like that's the people you're going for. The people who have the money and care about that. You have disposable income. You care about that. You're going to spend money. To them, that's value. So just how you look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Next part is the PS5 Pro's use of AI upscaling, the PSSR. The best way Sony could attempt to monitor its success with the view to improve it as a key aspect of the PS6.
I don't understand.
Wait,
I'm a little confused.
What's the actual question?
I'm guessing maybe it's that, like, I guess maybe they're asking is that the bigger differentiating point is PSSR?
So, yeah, from what my very basic understanding is that type of technology is integral to these machines and, like, GPUs. But while AMD has FSR and Nvidia's DLSS apparently is just, like, way beyond what anyone else is doing for this type of technology. And until, like, when AMD is struggling to catch up to DLSS apparently, then I wonder how well PlayStation's engineers can do with that as well. Right. I don't know. Maybe they are that talented, but it does sound like, well, it's good and you should try and have it. And I think it'll be important for to answer your question, yes, I think it'll be important. And I think they'll have to keep investing in it. I was getting into a tangent there. So sorry. The answer is yes. I think this is very important. They should keep iterating on it. And I hope when PlayStation 6 happens, it's like PSSR 2. I'm trying to avoid not spelling out or saying an acronym, because it was like acronym is like,
Pisser.
Yeah. Interesting choice.
I think maybe that's what they're getting at, is like almost in a way is like the PS5 Pro is like a beta for it, right? Like okay, we're gonna roll out this new technology to the enthusiasts, and that sample size will allow us to like tweak it and make it better for before it's like a core part of how a PlayStation works.
I see that.
Yeah. Because it could be weird, could be issues, but I think that also goes back to like what we're talking about with like the diminishing returns and the scaling of all this technology. It's like these technologies are basically there to allow them to just like sort of shortcut. It's like, okay, we can't get that much more raw horsepower that'll make a difference.
Yeah.
So let's use the DLSS and the PSSR to kind of like take some of the load off.
Share the load.
And then otherwise, do you think this is actually just bad judgment or plain greed in an odd attempt to continue sales? And does a stand really cause them that much trouble?
I don't think it's greed. I think being only $200 more than the base model is super fair. Like when you think about it, $700 isolated on its own is a fuck ton of money, but $200 more.
I guess, but like why is so many people's reaction freaking like so long, Sony, like
because
dead on
we're
arrival?
all broke, dude. Everyone is broke, and they just see $700 and they're like,
there's your
that.
So,
Then it's bad pricing.
So
it's about optics as much as it is reality.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they should have lowered the base model.
I think they would
100%.
Much better if they could have done a 400 and a 600.
100%.
Yeah.
I know we just talked about the enthusiast market and like people pay what they like want for that, but like I feel like Sony has demonstrated they don't have a firm grasp of pricing for that and hitting the sweet spot. PSVR 2 being the last example of that, where it's like you did not execute on that at all whatsoever. So like I feel like this is just another misfire, and it's like if you couldn't find a way to get this at a price point that would, you know, be more appealing and make this a success and hit your targets, why even like doing this at all? Why not just like put more of this investment into PlayStation 6 at this point and like forget the generational upgrade? Like I guess like they need to prove they can execute on this. Like I think PS4 Pro wasn't like, you know, terrible. I don't think it was necessary, but it seemed like it did okay comparatively. But like their more recent stuff, I don't think they've nailed that like enthusiast, like the set, like aiming for enthusiast markets. Like they're not even succeeding in that. So for like smaller like audiences, and I don't know. You said this is gonna sell out. I hope it does, because I don't want like things to fail, obviously, but also like don't want them to be rewarded for being like a little too over ambitious with the price here. Maybe it is like, hopefully it doesn't sell as well. Sony gets the hint and maybe cuts the price of everything a little bit, because like honestly, there needs like hardware. I feel like needs to like have price cuts over a generation. Like software, I mean, I understand like we've like always had things that have been going up in price, but like at some point you need to cut prices on things. I don't like that precedent of we can go a whole generation and nothing gets price cuts, you know, on hardware end. It's like and like it needs to go away. I would like
my
to see that
MO
go away.
for my whole life
it's not
was always
consumer
wait.
friendly. Yeah.
It was always wait for that first price cut. It was the best.
Yeah. That PS3 when that first one came and they were like, oh, we're gonna
MGS4 bundle, baby.
Not be backwards compatible. I was like, well, I guess I'm buying a PS3 now. You know, it's like, yeah.
Crazy.
From Oliver Leland. Hey, allies. This week marks the 25th anniversary of the Sega Dreamcast launch in North America.
Sega Dreamcast.
As an early adopter, I got mine for my birthday in November 1999. I would love to hear about your memories with the console, favorite games, and whether you spent time online, and how you feel about the short-lived console.
I have this favorite memory of when Damiani went, Sega Dreamcast.
I don't know if the Dreamcast is my favorite of all time system-wise because of its short life. But I definitely have the fondest memories of it, if that makes sense. It was a magical time. My favorite memory is first seeing it, walking into EB Games with my bro and seeing the whale in Sonic.
Yeah.
The Sonic Adventure whale was like the most graphically insane thing you'd ever seen at that time. It was like, oh my God, it's like, it looked so crazy. So Sonic Adventure, absolutely one of the best. Shenmue is the reason I'm in this industry. Just reading about that in Dreamcast magazine. They used to, I say it all the time, they used to do close-ups of characters' hands in that game and how you could see the individual veins of them and just how like realistic that game was going to be. Power Stone is another big one. Just 4-player, like never really played a game like that. Obviously there's Smash Bros, but yeah, Power Stone. The VMU, loved the VMU. Like playing Resident Evil on that thing, it would have your health on the VMU, so like caution, you know. playing Code Veronica, a brand new Resident Evil game on a Sega system. That was crazy, you know, coming over from, you know, 1, 2, and 3 on PlayStation. And it was like, whoa, dude, what's going on? Like brand new day and date. And then, of course, we got X on PS2 way later, but that was crazy. So
I never really had one, and I didn't really know anyone that had one, but the amount to which Seaman took over, it was like
Seaman.
Yeah, it was like legendary in the because it was like 1999, right?
Yeah,
so I was like,
I don't know if Seaman was out then, but yeah.
Well,
you would see that
99.
face, Isla, and it'd be like, what the hell?
I was like early high school, late middle school, right? And so like the other kids would be like talking about it and like, yeah, he can understand everything you say. He'll talk back. He says crazy rude stuff, like stuff you don't want your mom to hear, you know, like it took on this like legendary status. People would just like be telling you stuff that Seaman would say, you know, but I don't think any of us had ever actually played it, you know. That I remember that.
That's wild. Yeah, because like a lot of my memories are like a blends of a lot of things you guys are saying. Because yeah, the stores, seeing Sonic Adventure in stores for the first time, seeing how like at the time it struck me as being like really small, which is funny because like now in hindsight it's like it's not that small, but it just
the Dreamcast.
Yeah, just felt like seeing it in person. It's
sleek.
It's tiny. Yeah. And then, but yeah, like I didn't have like an access to one of my own for such like a long time that I really never got deep into the library. But like I did like when I first moved out here, I was staying in Whittier and I had a guy I met out there who had a Dreamcast, and like I would go to his place and play some things. Like, I don't even remember what we played. Like I remember he had like NBA 2K.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he had Crazy Taxi.
Yes.
I don't remember a whole lot of what games he had. I just remember there being a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And then when I moved into another place, I had an animator friend that I was living with, and he had Seaman. And like that was the only thing that Dreamcast was used for.
Seaman.
Was for Seaman.
That is hilarious.
It was just there, you know,
Sega Bass Pro Fishing.
They're like any of the other pets, you know?
Yeah.
Like just feed Seaman a little bit each night when in his studio while he's drawing.
Is Don around? Because I'm sure he can relate and attest to this. The crossover of the arcade and Sega Dreamcast was so legendary because Soul Calibur, Crazy Taxi, the Gun Con, so playing like House of the Dead 2 on Dreamcast, it was legit bringing the arcade experience home. It was crazy.
Oh,
he loves that.
Hell yeah.
The whole floor just rumbled. I don't know if that was an aftershock or
a big truck. No, a big truck just went by. Oh yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, we had a crazy earthquake here in LA last night at like 7 a.m.
Crazy.
Did you want to respond to these allegations, Don?
What do you say, Don?
Yeah, no, just agree 100%, Huber. I mean, it was such a magical system. When you had that thing at home, I mean, Dead or Alive, the games we were playing, there was just no other. It was like finally that moment we'd all been waiting for years from kid when you're like, I do have the arcade at home.
Yes.
I actually do have the power of the arcade at home right now. It's just glorious. Yeah,
hell yeah. Like the Die Hard arcade, they made it Dynamite Cop because they like had to change the license, but it was like that game.
I didn't realize that was Die Hard. Nice.
Dynamite Deca
Played
in Japan.
Like Virtual Fighter or any of that stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of Soul Calibur.
I definitely. But Huber, so Shenmue was the one. Like you're saying, I was like even though I didn't have a Dreamcast and didn't know how I would ever get one, like I was obsessed with Shenmue and like watching those videos and looking at all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so like. I think it was like a couple of years later. Like I think it was after I had a GameCube, and like somebody else that played a GameCube, like, just gave me their Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And so like, all right,
give it a go.
Time for Shenmue.
Hell yeah, boy.
You know? Like,
correct.
Finally
move.
play that game.
Yeah. Sick.
Damiani, any Dreamcasts?
So I never had a Dreamcast. First time I saw one, we were visiting some family friends or someone in like South Padre Island in Texas when like around the time it came out, And like, yeah, the people, the kids like had one. They're like, check this out. And like, I think they showed Power Stone like running on it or something. And I was like, oh, that's a new Sega. That's pretty cool. I remember like in school, like Bleamcast, because like we were talking about that because they wanted to run PlayStation 1 games on Dreamcast because they could like either like run them better or something.
That sounds so familiar,
wow,
dude.
yeah,
Yeah, like that was like the biggest thing. And I remember trying to get it to run on a computer too, even though you're supposed to run it on the Dreamcast or whatever. But like it also like worked on PCs as well. So
Yeah.
I remember that was there for a while, and that was like a big thing. People trying to play their PS1 games on Dream. So like Dreamcast could play Dreamcast games and PS1 games. Man, you don't need a PlayStation 1 anymore.
Yeah.
And in the commercials, like it's thinking. Like I always remember that, and you know, just like the logo design, the swirl, man, like. It was pretty iconic, and at the time when it was launching, it just felt like you know, it felt pretty cool. Like it felt like the cool system, and even though PS2 came out and overshadowed it later, it still felt like not the same vibes. Like Sega just had like way different vibes than everyone else, and it you know, it was, even though their games still carry on, and I mostly started to play Dreamcast games on GameCube. You know, you still kind of lost something when Sega kind of like bailed out from or forced to bail out from making hardware, man.
Shout out to Skies of frickin' Arcadia. Where are the ports of that game?
Yeah.
One of the best ever made.
There was another one that was like, I like just like the saddest sob story, because it's like I was like, again, like obsessed with that game magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got the GameCube version, and then like one of the other guys in my house wanted to play it, and like I hadn't even played that much of it yet. I was like, okay, cool. And then like somehow lost the disc.
Dude.
Like nobody knows what happened to the disc. Like, did somebody come into your
that's the
room and
worst.
take it, or like
That's
what?
the
Like,
worst.
yeah.
I've lost so many games over the years too. I hate it.
So it's like I never really got to play
Yeah.
that, like more than like a little bit of the intro or something.
God.
But yeah.
It's upsetting.
From Steven MXA Ghost Oz. What's up?
Huber said something about Die Hard, and it made me remember that when Sophia and I were in Norway, we found a bunch of our old PS1 games.
Nice.
We found
Die Hard Trilogy?
a couple of demo discs. We found The Emperor's New Groove in Norwegian
Okay.
and Die Hard Trilogy.
Hell yeah.
We brought them back with us too.
Nice.
I remember the driving Die Hard with a Vengeance one being like actually really fun.
Yeah, I remember that game being cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
From MXA Ghost. Hey allies, I've been wondering, are the conversations we have in the gaming community, like the importance of review scores or the buzz around new consoles, things that the general public even cares about?
No.
Do you think we sometimes overestimate how much non-gamers are engaged with these topics? And how much does the average non-gamer care about these discussions?
I've been thinking about this
Yeah.
a little bit. Because sometimes I'll be like, oh, well, everyone's talking about this. And it's like in my social media, right? It's like, oh, social media is like not important. It's not real life, blah, blah, blah. I was like just laying in bed and I was thinking like, I think I put so much importance on social media because that's where the gamers and like the hardcore gamers are talking. That's where like all the, you know, the YouTubers, you got IGN, you got the journalists, everyone is posting on there in the industry. So sometimes it does feel like that is like it's huge. It's everyone's talking about it. Whereas like I talk to my, talk to Grumbomb, talk to my other friends who are not
right
there. And it's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what? Like, no, they don't know. So it's like, yeah, I think it can feel huge because whether we like it or not, a large portion of the internet is tapped in chronically to social media. So it can feel like that's our entire reality.
Yeah, that's a very small part of what the app, like the whole market is, right? Because like a lot of people like they pick up Call of Duty,
Yeah, exactly.
they pick up Madden,
They don't know
pick
what
up
the
Mario
hell.
Kart,
Yeah.
and they'll pick up some of these other games and they'll be like, oh hey, did you hear about this? Like that'd be the funniest thing, is like when somebody be like, did you hear about this game? It's like, yeah, I know about that game for sure. But it's like it's not that they're not interested in those conversations. Like you'll get people to have those conversations and stuff, but they're not spending all day looking at what Twitter is saying. And what these guys are saying.
Exactly.
Such a small part of it. It's
Yeah.
like people are like, oh, cool, new Star Wars game.
Yeah.
You know?
But it feels so big to us because every one of our peers is
and well, but that's the thing. They'll get the new Star Wars game because it's a new Star Wars game, and like whatever complaints people have about it, it's like, oh no, it's fine.
Totally.
You know?
But yeah, living their life, dude. Living their best life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts, Sila? While we wait for Damiani.
What happened?
You have any thoughts on that? The conversations of broader markets and.
I was discussing social media posts with Gabby. I missed it. Sorry.
There it is. We're tapped in. Social media.
But yeah, no. I've said this 100 times. Like, we in enthusiast press often, I think, forget that normal people just play Madden and Call of Duty, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they'll play other things, but it's like they're just not.
They're not
looking
tapped
for these
into
crazy discussions.
Yeah, they're not listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
You know. But if you know someone like that and think they would enjoy this podcast, let them know, please.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Please
stuff.
tell them.
All right, it is time for bets. This week's bet: Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Huber's gonna find that bet.
Yeah. What's the
Someone-
embargo in that game? What's going on there?
Oh, it's next week. We'll talk about next week.
Okay.
That comes out next Thursday. I'm gonna check the official Dead Rising Twitter account right before the podcast. I want to know how many likes there will be on the tweet that announces Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is out now. And I gave them references. You don't need to know all the numbers. You can look at their account. Damiani, how many likes on that out now tweet?
Let's go with 2,000.
2,000.
Solid bet.
Huber, Stealthy Centipede.
I went with 3.7 thousand.
3.7.
I originally had 4.7 and marked it down to 3.7. We'll see if that costs me.
Isla, Wet Hummingbird.
I said 996.
996. Dawn, Fashionable Manatee.
850.
50.
I think I'm a little too high here, huh?
Gabby, Optimistic Rat.
1,000. She said 1,000.
1,000 even.
Great bet.
And then me, the Effervescent Hippopotamus, I went with 788.
Man,
I got more boxed in than I thought I would.
I am way high here. Out of my mind high here.
If it goes high, you get the high. There it goes. Last week's bet, the Jackbox Naughty Pack is out today.
Let's stream it.
With Dawn.
I gotta get one of those if you want to.
Just
stream
kidding.
It. But
And Blood. All kissing run with Daniel Bloodworth.
Is this one rated AO?
No.
We'll make sure it is. You know?
Anyways, last week I asked where it would rank on the Twitch page and the Twitch rankings right before we started the podcast. Damiani said 25. Huber said 22. Isla said 12. Dawn said 13th place. Gabby said up there 4th place. And then Brandon said 33rd place.
That's correct.
I looked down on that. I couldn't find one specifically for that game.
Yeah.
Twitch has a category for Jackbox Party Packs as a whole, encompassing. I had to do math.
Yeah, it was like 80th.
To figure this out. It was down at 110.
Yeah. I don't know what.
Good Lord. I don't know what all of us were thinking.
Yeah, we weren't.
But that's Twitch. One streamer.
You're right.
The right streamer.
Yep.
Streaming at the right time.
You're right.
That goes from 2.5 thousand viewers to 10,000 viewers.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Maximilian, dude, decides to stream Jackbox right at that moment.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, it's out today. Someone on the East Coast streaming that.
Silent Hill The Room has 6,000 viewers right now.
Nice.
That's crazy.
So Brandon won that, and he chose the points to go to me.
Yeah.
And now, we're not there yet. We got one catch-up bet.
Oh.
Got two of those that are been waiting in the wings. This one was for I Am Your Beast. So go ahead and start rolling that launch trailer. So we had to delay this bet on the launch trailer a few weeks back. I asked how many confirmed kills there would be in the launch trailer. And you know it's a kill because that red X pops up. You know every single kill. But this is a tricky one because there are like cuts that are like between really similar shots. There'd be times where like an explosion goes off and like how many was that? And so I had to do a lot of frame by frames here. I actually did it twice and like found more after the first one.
Yeah.
So Damiani bet 42, Huber bet 21, Isla was out, Don bet 34, Gabby bet 30, I also bet 34, and that launch trailer is only 56 seconds long, and we wound up with 43 confirmed kills.
Yeah, I'm counting along, and I was in like the 30s there.
Yeah, I think I had like 38 the first time, and then I ran it back and frame by frame. It's like, oh, I got like 5 more out of it or something.
Great.
So,
It said
yeah,
coming 2025.
that's iOS.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what's it?
Yeah. So that brings our scores to 9 for the Stealthy Centipede, 8 for the Effervescent Hippopotamus,
On my heels.
and 6 for the Pompous Cocker Spaniel.
So to be clear, I won that bet, right? The second one.
Yes, Damiani, yes.
You
won.
didn't actually say who won.
Yes,
So.
true. You won the catch-up bet. With the high. Let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. Every week we're putting this show together, talking about games that we're playing, going through all that news, skimming all that stuff, and yeah, just having a good time.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're listening to this show, if you're putting in hours every week while you're playing a game and grinding it out, or riding to work, consider also paying to make that happen. You can go to Patreon and drop in $5 a month, and you get this podcast 2 days early. You get bonus love and respect questions. You get in that Discord where they're voting on the top 10 schools.
Hell yeah.
That opened up this week.
That is a good one.
And you can submit to Love and Respect, get your questions in that way. And then we've got higher tiers. We've got our producers who go above and beyond. And our platinum producer gets shout outs on this podcast each and every week. This month's shout outs go to Jabawabs and El Thanis. Shout out.
Wow.
All right. Let's talk about some stuff coming up. Tomorrow, Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow if you're watching this live. If you're getting the Patreon, it's later today.
Yep.
Or if you're hearing this later, watch the VOD. We are doing a full playthrough of the casting of Frank Stone.
Frank.
The new collab between Supermassive and Dead by Daylight. So getting to some crazy Dead by Daylight lore. We'll see what we're getting into. We're going to play that whole game together here, starting at 2 o'clock Pacific. Also, recently there was a new solo queue, Damiani.
Solo queue.
You're aiming to do those roughly every other week now?
Yep. Gonna try and get those back on track. So every other week.
Nice.
We thought maybe there might be more news this week. There were like rumors of maybe some other things. Doesn't seem like it happened. So just PlayStation 5 Pro was this week. So we'll see what happens. Now there's more rumors about it's next week or in 2 weeks now. So apparently Switch 2 is getting announced this month, according to industry insiders. The ones who nailed all the PS5 Pro details, whatever.
The industry insiders.
Of course, Nintendo industry insiders, since they have such a great track record.
Emptying out the trash at Nintendo.
That'll be fun. Yep.
And then I was out last week, and if you did not catch why I was out, I was at EA's headquarters up near San Francisco to play Dragon Age The Veilguard. And right before this, we shot a preview that you will be able to see next week, so keep an eye out for that. And now, Damiani and I get to close out this show. Damiani, you got anything? The final word, sign off, or shout out to anything?
Do you have any, save time? Do you have anything in mind, or that you're burning to do, or do you want me to?
I got no idea at this point. Like nothing is in my head whatsoever on any of this.
Well, you kind of
I could sign off.
You kind of already gave a shout out to Solo Queue, so I don't really want to like double dip on that. I guess I could, for. Oh yeah. Jonathan,
it doesn't have to be a us thing. It can be anything.
I keep forgetting that.
We changed it a little bit.
I'll never be able to shake that. I'm always going to do that. Yeah, because I was gonna say like the Astrobot review, just because like I know some people might be down on the PS5 Pro price point. Like people were like, I saw a decent amount of sentiment that said like it was kind of a bummer to see it priced that high. People looking forward to it. Now it's like that's just out of their reach. But I mean, Astrobot is like a bright spot for Sony. And you really are not going to need a PS5 Pro to enjoy anything about Astrobot. It's hard to really imagine that game really benefiting from like PS5 Pro. So like it's oblivious. I was surprised. People were predicting they were going to patch in the PlayStation 5 Pro into the game. Because your mothership is the PlayStation 5, so it's like, oh, well, they make it the Pro, or they're gonna save. They're probably saving that for Astrobot 2.
It's the old model PS5 too.
It is too. It's not even the Slim, so it's like the OG. So I'm like, I'm not sure why they think that, but maybe it's some kind of collectible. But you never know. Something tells me there'll definitely be an Astrobot 2. So
get a fleet of them.
There you go.
Get all of them in there. Mm-hmm. And then, so that was your shout out. Did you want to do final word, or are you good?
Do you have a final word?
I would just say, best of luck to the everyone that just resigned from Annapurna. And I'm very curious what you guys will do next. I've been very interested in the things that you have selected to publish. And so, yeah, I'm gonna keep my eyes out on that for sure. And we will see you before the next blood moon rises.
Ada Wong, separate ways.
Uh-huh.